Hey everybody, we're about to get started here, but I do want to point out the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo coming up here in Huntsville, Alabama at the Von Braun Center, April 18th and 19th. That's right, PCP will be there. We'll have a booth. We'll be giving away our mystery boxes, selling our mystery boxes, raising money for comics for kids, as we usually do. We'll also hopefully have a panel there. I'm pretty sure we're going to have a panel there. Let's be honest, right? It's always a grand old time. Come meet Hammer Time Holshoe, Justin Goldsmith, Jelani Brooks, and others. That's right, I said Brooks. At the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo, April 18th and 19th here in Huntsville, Alabama. We'll be starting here in just a moment. What's up, everybody? What's up, PCP? Welcome to Rockin Robbie Live here on a Sunday night in March 8th to be exact, 2020. How are you doing? It's the Teen Dog Shades night. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. Once you get in here, let me know that you're here. Start hollering out. Let me know who's in here. Let's start chatting. Let's start talking about what's going on in comic books, movies, pop culture, and a whole lot more. We've got some really nifty topics tonight. We're going to be talking about that new Batmobile. I don't know if you've heard about it, but there's a new Batman movie. We're going to be talking about who I want to be in the Fantastic Four MCU movie. That sounds interesting. We're going to talk about Christian Bale and his role in the new Thor movie. We'll be taking a look at this upcoming week's new comic books. We'll be talking about our favorite comic books of last week. And we'll be doing a little bit of show and tell. And we're going to be talking about aliens, UFOs, and government cover-ups. All that and more tonight on Rockin Robbie Live. I want to give a big shout out to our patrons right now. David H., Alex, Brian W., Nelson, Reggie, the Reggie, Josh, Brian S., David G., Dean, Dunlaney, Jason, Javi, Man Meat, Peter, that's Peter twice, what? Michael, Peter, Robert, Timo, TJ, and William. How are y'all doing? Thank you so much. You can also follow me on Twitter at The Rockin Robbie. You can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and if you're on Facebook, join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group, everybody. PCP Army is a jumping place to be. Man, I love a good old Teen Dog Shades night. You know what I'm talking about? I have a lot of fun on these nights. So we're having a Teen Dog Shades kind of night tonight. So let me get to everybody in the chat. And like I said, this show is driven by your comments, questions, and thoughts and concerns. So please, anything you want to say, anything you want to bring up, any topic you want to discuss, any questions you want to ask me directly, this is your shot. I may even respond. What's up, Kid and Puke? I bet you're excited for the Teen Dog Shades night. What's up, Samuel? What's up, Sam Fett? What's up, Eric? What's up, Mudfoot? What's up, Classmates Official? What's up, Iron Galactus? Atari? Brian. Good old Brian. You know, Brian, are you the one? Aren't you the one that took the alien meme that I shared and put the sunglasses on it, right? I used that as a thumbnail tonight. Pretty sure you did that. So big shout out to Brian. Brian A. What's up, Ricardo? What's up, Roger? What's up, Logan? What's up, Mike? I wear an XL. Logan. What did I think of Finger Guns by Vault? Man, I did 4 videos in which I shared my thoughts on finger guns. Probably more if you consider and throw in the live streams. So definitely look up some of those videos. I did an advanced review for it, the weekly comic book review, the top 10 video, the best comics of the month video I did with Bueller and Bob and Dylan. But I really liked it. I loved Finger Guns. I thought it was absolutely amazing. And Justin Richards is just proving himself to be the coolest of the coolest cats writing comics. Yeah, that's all Brian. Brian, thank you so much. I use that. Heck yeah. Let's see. Dude, when did Walmart start selling comic packs? The 90s? They stopped for a little while. They started picking it up again recently. Let's see. You think the next phase of the MCU is going to be able to stand up to the past? That is an excellent question. Hopefully. It depends on a few things. It depends on the creators involved. It depends on the direction that they decide to go in. So, yeah, there's a lot riding on that in it. I think they'll be fine for where it is right now. This is just, at this point, this is just my personal opinion. Not every single MCU film is a great film. Not every single one of them. In fact, some of them, in my opinion, kind of suck, right? So that being said, I think that trend is going to continue on into the next, the next bit of MCU films, the next phases or whatever you want to call it. I think as far as interest goes, I don't see right now any slowing down of the interest in superhero fiction, especially Marvel's got X-Men and Fantastic Four now. They got so much more to throw in there. How can they do an Iron Man movie without Robert Downey Jr.? Well, they don't have to. They really don't. They don't have to do that anymore. Dylan, you son of a bitch, what's up, buddy? Good to see you here. But I think that I think they'll be fine. It just depends on the MCU started off and it really got strong because it had really solid creators working on these books, right? So I think that as long as they keep that up, you had James Gunn is the reason really why Guardians of the Galaxy worked so well. Jon Favreau and Robert Downey Jr. and others are the reason why Iron Man works so well. Kevin Feige has somewhat to do with it, but as his success grows, he's going to be moved beyond that. Disney's going to want him for more than just, the Marvel stuff, right? They're going to want him. There's already been rumors and speculation that they want him to take over the Star Wars franchise. I wouldn't be surprised if this dude's the head of Disney one day. So be on the lookout for that, right? But I think as long as the MCU started off strong because they had great stories that were true to their characters that were made by brilliant creative teams that were really committed to the process. If they continue to do that. Now, the MCU, up to this point, has already had their struggles with that. We've lost some directors. We've lost some things, some people due to creative differences and things like that, right? So I wouldn't say that the MCU is a perfect thing. As far as comic book movies go, it seems perfect because they're giving us what we've experienced for years and years and years in the comic book world is one cohesive, story, right? Everything kind of fits in. You can place it together. They're their own stories. They all tie into one big thing. That's something that we love. And that's something that's very popular right now with episodic television. That's one of the reasons why I think television, especially in the last 15, 20 years, has really risen up above movies, is because people are wanting to see something that they can invest in, a world they can get lost in. Some people view this as just escapism, and if you want to view it as just escapism, it seems like we want a more immersive escape. I'd like to view it as more of an inspirational and aspirational type thing, right? Where we're trying to see ourselves as being better, right? That's how I like to look at it. And so I think that that's good for the superhero fiction to keep growing and blossoming. There's duds. That's always been there. But if you really think about it, superhero movies have not stopped since Superman. Even you could argue that it goes before that. But since that Richard Donner, Christopher Reeve Superman movie came out, there have been periods where they weren't in the zeitgeist. They weren't the most popular thing. But they've always been there. You know what I'm saying? And right now we're at a big peak of it. And maybe the peak is past. maybe the peak is past with the end of Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, and we'll see what happens. But I think that the MCU's in a strong position right now. They just need to depend on really solid filmmakers and writers and producers, people that are really passionate about these stories, and just keep going with that. And I think they'll be fine. And especially with the introduction of Fantastic Four and the X-Men, you have a whole lot of a wider range of things to do and more things for us fans to get excited about. So I think they'll be fine. What's bigger than Thanos? Galactus. Build up slowly to that. Introduce some Skrull, Scree stuff. Do whatever you need to do. But I think they'll be fine. I think the hype is still there. They just need to lean into heavily talented creators and actors and producers and just people that are passionate about the projects. So that's my rant on that. I'll probably cut that together, release it later on for all the muggles out there. What? People that aren't here on Sunday nights. How are y'all doing? I'm so thankful for y'all being here. Thank you so much. We got lots of super cool stuff we're going to talk about tonight. CMA Thunder's in the house, everybody. What's up? Give them a shout out. When you're cool, the sun shines on you 24 hours a day. Do you remember what movie that's from? No, I don't, God Tank. Not off the top of my head, especially not on Teen Talk Shades tonight. Please let me know. And welcome, God Tank. Welcome. Oh, it's from Aliens? Well, how appropriate. How appropriate. You distracted me. Oh, yeah, it was, by the way, beautiful, sunshiny day here in Alabama today. It was an absolute gorgeous day. Unfortunately, the day's already over because of goddamn daylight savings. What the hell? I hate this stuff. I like it when we fall back and we go into daylight savings time, but when we come back out of it and we go back to real time, I guess. Now we're in the real world, right? God, this sucks, doesn't it? What's up, Taki? How are you doing? Oh, you're welcome. I'll stream as long as y'all keep watching. My science project 80s movie, Eric. Oh, okay. So, what was your favorite comic book of last week? My favorite comic book of last week was Strange Adventures #1. I really thought it was great. I've seen a lot of people covering it being like, Tom King, fresh off the disappointment of his run on Batman, he's got to redeem himself with Strange Adventures. I'm like, yo, Batman is the anomaly by Tom King. Tom King is a brilliant writer. He's an amazing talent as a writer. He's really good, and I've said this before, and we've said this before. We've discussed this before. That Tom King is really, really solid at taking these characters that a lot of people don't have maybe so much attachment to and doing something quirky and different and unique with it and telling a story from his perspective. And that's what he did with The Vision. That's what he did with Mr. Miracle. That's what he did with Omega Men, Sheriff of Babylon, books like that. So, yeah, that doesn't necessarily translate well into a long-term Batman run. I'll be honest, if he did that entire Batman story in 12 issues, which he could have, people would have hailed that as like a brilliant Batman story. But he stretched out that stuff over like 80-something issues. He wanted to go 100. There's still even more, y'all. Don't forget, there's still more. I like his Batman run overall, but it's way stretched out. That thing could totally be 30, 50 issues, and they did it. It's too much. But to me, Strange Adventures was absolutely amazing, and I loved it. I loved it so much. I love the dichotomy of the two stories. I love the different art styles and the way they play off against each other. Doc Shaner and Mitch Gerrits. It works so well. I like the story. I like the thematic elements that are there, and yes, the nuance there. I thought it was super cool. Super cool. So what was your favorite comic book of last week? Let's start talking. Your pick of the week. Your pick of the week. CMA Thunder says, Mr. Miracle, whoops, I mean Strange Adventures. Well, that's kind of funny, but at the same time, way different books. Like, really? Right? Did you read that? Right? Like, the first issue of Strange Adventures, way different to me than the first issue of Mr. Miracle. A whole different kind of vibe and approach to it. Now, there are similarities, obviously. That's just Tom King's style. Now, if you don't like a stylistic writer, like, I know people that don't like stylistic artists, meaning that they like art that seems more realistic or more of the comic book, norm, right? More of the norm, right? They don't like things that have their own style to it and venture off, things that are very stylized, even like a Mike Mignola, some would argue Jack Kirby. But a lot of art today, like I see a lot of people right now shouting out King of Nowhere. King of Nowhere has a stylized art approach to it. Some people don't like that. At the same point, some people don't like stylized writing. You know, get what I'm saying? When you read a Tom King book, you don't even have to know. You can pick out that it's a Tom King book. However, I would say that's the strength of some of the best writers out there. It's more obvious with artists to pick out their style, obviously, and be like, well, that's Chris Bocciolo or that's Jim Lee or whatever, right? And Jim Lee is a stylized artist, but a less stylized artist than, say, Bocciolo or Joe Madureira or even Rob Liefeld, to be honest with you. So a lot of people would say Rob Liefeld's a terrible artist, and I would argue that he's not a terrible artist. He's a lazy artist, but he's got his own style that I don't personally like. However, that whole point was to get to the idea that writers have a style too. I could read a Neil Gaiman book and kind of almost piece together that it's Neil Gaiman. I can read a Warren Ellis. You can pick up their styles. You get what I'm saying? Grant Morrison, Alan Moore, the greatest. Bendis. You can look at a Bendis script and know that that's Bendis. So some writers have a definitive style, just like certain artists do. And it may not be so obvious to pick up, and maybe sometimes it's just the style that you don't like. And if you don't like Tom King's style, and I think Tom King's style was one of the problems with his Batman run. I think he leaned too heavy into style. At a certain point, you got to realize your style has to drop down from the weight of the properties themselves. And when you're writing Batman, your style can only take you so far. But you got to let Batman kind of override that style. Tom King didn't do that. I think that was the biggest problem, if I had to put it into words. If you look at someone like Brian Michael Bendis, his style, which is a lot of snappy, witty, semi-realistic dialogue. It's a very Aaron Sorkin type of writing. It works so well in a lot of his creator-owned work. And it worked very well in Ultimate Spider-Man to a point. But in his Avengers work, it didn't work so much. So he had to lean out of that. And when he leaned out of that, his Avengers stuff started getting better and feeling more classic. So I think that was Tom King's biggest problem with Batman, was that he relied too much on his style and not... I'm not saying he didn't have respect for the character of Batman, because I think he unveiled some layers of Batman that I had never even thought about, right? But his style kind of overrode the mythology of the character, and his style came across as the most obvious thing, if that makes sense. So we're talking about our favorite comic books of the week. Let us know, what's your favorite comic book of last week? We got some people saying King of Nowhere, Kitten Puke, and Logan. King of Nowhere was crazy. That book was I felt like I was tripping reading that book, but I liked it. It made it to my number 3. I really liked it. Roger says, I liked Outer Darkness and Chew. It's great seeing Tony Chew again. Did you see the news that they're actually doing a sequel to Chew about his sister? That's super cool. What's up, S Squared? How are you doing? Two Gun Pedro's here, everybody. Speaking of finger guns, right? S Squared says, Flash 750, well done. Out of all of these anniversary, special one-shots looking back at the legacy of a character or whatnot, I think that's been my favorite. It's been the strongest. I've loved it. I thought that was great. I enjoyed every single story in there. The Marv Wolfman, Riley Rossmo story is probably the weakest one. Other than that, I liked every single story in The Flash. Mudfoot says, I enjoyed The Stump. Yes, on The Stump. What if politics and wrestling met up in one? It's a week prior, though. Yeah, it is, but that's a really cool book. That was one of Bullseye Bob's favorites from Everything Comics when we did the live stream about our favorite comic books of the month, which we're nearing the halfway mark of this month. So I'll let everybody know that the next episode of that, where me and a few other comic book YouTubers will meet up and talk about our favorite comic books of the month. The next episode is going to be on Dylan's Comics YouTube channel, so pay attention there. And we'll make the announcement when we got the date set. Brian, I don't even know what comic book that is. Logan says Batman 90. Samuel says Batman was really good. Batman was really good. How good was that Jorge Jimenez artwork? It was absolutely amazing. Nice going, KP. Usually when I say KP, I'm talking about Katy Perry, though, so feel important because of that. Yeah, Jimenez was excellent on Batman. Brett, what's up? Says King of Nowhere was awesome. Yeah, it was. Hamburger Basket, what's up? He had a question, then he retracted it. Retracted. I don't like retracted statements on a Teen Dog Shades night, y'all. I think we got a narc in the building. Just kidding. Robbie, if you had the ability of finger guns, which one would you choose? The one to calm people down. Calm people down. Come on. Too many people can already get a little on edge, a little testy there, right? Quick question. How many issues were in that Batman Who Laughs miniseries? Dropped out of it early, but I like Jock. I think it was originally going to be 6, but it turned out to be 7. So there are 7 issues of that. S squared right there with 7, yes. All Batmans are great right now, in my opinion, says Mudfit. Regular Story and Batman's great, both in my pool. Yeah, and Detective Comics is trucking on through as being a pretty solid Batman book as well. Excuse me. Damn. Never mind. Yo, Brett, no, I have not gotten an advance on Decorum. Pisses me off. I don't get advances of Jonathan Hickman work. It bothers me. I saw some creators got it, but I did not. So I'm going to have to read it with all of the rest of y'all this week, but I'm very excited for it. It comes out this week. That being said, we're about to get into what's coming out this week in comic books. Eric says, Unearthed number 6 is the pick of the week. S Squared says, Unearthed is full of Lovecraftian craziness. Yes, and it totally turned it from body horror to something way crazier in the last issue. I loved it. What's up, Robert? How you doing? Top of the evening to you, buddy. We're about to take a look at what's coming up in comic shops this week on March 11th. That's right, everybody. Not only do I want you to go to your local comic shop this Wednesday and pick up your books and share your favorites here in the PCP Army and on YouTube and all that stuff. It's 311 Day, baby, so please listen to a 311 song as you do it. Come on, do it for me. Do it for me. Even if you're not a 311 fan, there's got to be a 311 song that you love. They're one of my favorite bands. I wish I would have thought ahead to put an image up here. I did, but I kind of was like, I don't need to do that. I'm not, anyway, 311 is one of my favorite bands. 311 Day is New Comic Book Day this week. So please, please listen to a 311 jam on your way to the comic shop this Wednesday. And if you shop at my LCS, we're going to be playing 311 all day, baby. All damn day. Brian says, was happy to see Unearthed back. It was my favorite book last year. Brian, I was really surprised. I didn't even realize it was coming back, so that's really cool. I liked the issue, too. I thought issue 6 was solid. Bounty Hunters and the Jim Henson Ghost look good, says Mudfoot. Cannabis 2. I mean, I don't think we're going to get our copies of issue number 1. I'm just going to have to get a digital copy or something. S Squared says 751 from Flash. Y'all getting ahead of me. John, what's up, buddy? How are you doing? I'll get to your question here in just a second. But that's based on a meme I've seen spreading around. But yeah, I want to answer that. Coming up in comic shops this week, let's start with Dark Horse. We've got Blackwood, Morning After, number 2. We've got Criminal Macabre, The Big Bleed Out, number 4. The Incredibles 2, Slow Burn, number 2. Elf Quest, Stargazer's Hunt, number 3. The No One Left to Fight trade paperback is out this week. That book was amazing. Tales from Harrow County, Death's Choir, number 4. That's Dark Horse from IDW. Disney's Comics and Stories, number 11. From Hell, Master Edition, number 10. That's the final issue. Marvel Action, Captain Marvel, number 4. Read Only Memories, number 3. Rom, Dire Wraiths, number 2. Transformers, number 18, and Uncle Scrooge, number 55. From Dynamite. Let's see. Death to the Army of Darkness, number 2. Deja Thoris, number 4. Red Sonja, Vampirella, Betty, and Veronica, number 9. Vampirella, Red Sonja, number 7. Without Betty and Veronica, I should add. From Boom Studios this week. We have BB Free, number 3. We have Ghosted in LA, number 9. Go Go Power Rangers, number 30. Jim Henson's Storytellers, Ghosts, number 1. These are usually some really cool, nifty, one-shot stories with really interesting and innovative artwork. So definitely be on the lookout for that if you like something different. And Ronin Island, number 11. From other companies this week, we've got Adler, number 2. Bloodshot, number 7. Captain Ginger, Season 2, number 2. Ignited, number 8. The Man Who Effed Up Time, number 2. Very excited for that one. North Bend, number 1. It's a new one from Scout Comics. We have RV9, number 5. And Ray, number 5. Sex, Death, Revolution. The trade paperback is coming out. I don't believe they did the last couple issues, but they're just releasing the trade paperback. Excited for that. That's a book I was really, really enjoying. And Sweetheart, number 1 is a new one from Action Lab Comics. We'll be getting to Image, DC, and Marvel here in just a second. John says, if you could have any superhero's pet, which one and why? Mine is Ace, because he's very protective and sweet. Well, that's a very protective and sweet thing for you to say. Me personally, I would say Lockjaw. I want Lockjaw. Lockjaw is a teleporting dog who's super cool. He's protective, and he's sweet, and he's loyal, and he's vicious when he needs to be on a superheroic level. Plus the added benefit of teleportation. Come on. If you're in with Lockjaw, you're in with the entire universe. So I'm going to go with Lockjaw. Outside of that, Topo, that'd be cool. Topo to be able to like chill out with a squid in the ocean and talk to him like Aquaman. Oh, some people talking about the 311. You got to trust your instincts and let go of regret. All Mixed Up's a great one. That was my first 311 song, was All Mixed Up. We're talking about high school age Robbie in the 90s, watching that video on MTV because I watched MTV so much, which is crazy because I never thought I would not watch MTV. In fact, if MTV was still what MTV was back then, I think we would still watch it. Maybe not. I'd watch at the last days. I would watch VH1 Classic like a motherfucker. I'll be honest. That shit. I just like New Order videos and all that kind of craziness. I loved it. Replaying Nirvana Unplugged. Come on. Maybe we're just living in the past, but if they would just re-air days of MTV and VH1 for the 80s and 90s, I would watch it. I'm serious. I would just have it on. You've got to trust your instincts and let go of regret. 311 is just the best. I've seen them live a few times. I want to see them live again this year. Alive. Yeah, they are alive. That's cool. I want to see them live again this year. This is their 30th anniversary tour, which makes me feel a little bit aged, but aged like a fine wine, I should say. So, yeah, because of the 30th anniversary, they're doing a show in every single state in the United States. So they're doing all like shows in all 50 states. So no excuse not to see them this year. Go out there with me and jam. 311. I'm probably going to try to hit the Nashville show. I don't know if I want to hit the Alabama show because Alabama venues are not as cool as Nashville and Atlanta. I'll be honest. But maybe they're playing a smaller place or something. I don't know. I saw them in a smaller place once in Chattanooga, and I've seen them in like amphitheaters and stuff, and that was really cool. I almost said arenas, but not quite. Amphitheaters, and that was really fun. And we've had some great times watching 311. I see Mike in the chat, so he knows what I'm talking about because he was there and he took the pictures to prove it. Right? We had some wild times at 311 shows. So but seeing them in a smaller venue, being closer to them was actually really, really cool. So I don't know. I have to look at my options, but definitely going to see 311 this year. Decorum looks like a hit. Oh, it's going to be a hit. It's Jonathan Hickman. It's totally a hit. Jonathan Hickman is almost bigger than he's ever been, I'll be honest with you. I mean, his Fantastic Four run was amazing. His work before that was amazing. And then East to West happened, and then he kind of started getting some indie cred. Then he was doing the Avengers and all that kind of stuff, and that was great. And Secret Wars, and that blossomed into something big. And then he kind of dipped out for a while. And then his X-Men shit, his X-Men stuff's been absolutely amazing. I think he's the most high profile he's ever been. This might be the peak, Jonathan Hickman. But we'll see. What's up, Share Love T? How are you doing? Share Love T did such an awesome fan art for us. I don't have it here to show you right now. I'll get that set up for next time. But I shared it in the PCP Army, and if you could actually give me like some kind of like super crisp high res photo of that, like a scan or something, that'd be super cool. It was amazing. It was cool. It's a bunch of references to some of our favorite things. And it was awesome. It was super, super cool. Everybody wants to know what the buildings mean, though. Share love. Everybody's picking out the references, and I think I got them all. And to me, I think the buildings are just there to be there. But if the buildings they almost look like faces in a way. It looks kind of trippy and cool, right? So, if the buildings mean something, please let us know. Robbie, do you ever watch DC Daily? No, I don't. I had that subscription service for a long time, and after a couple months of not using it, I was like, man, I'm not using it. In fact, I'm not using my Disney Plus. However, I am using my ESPN Plus and Hulu, so maybe I should keep that active. Let's see. I got the Cosmic Ghost Rider action figure this weekend. It's awesome. It came in the shop, and I asked Mike to hold it back for me. And then I decided better. I was like, you know what? Not going to worry about that. I got plenty of other stuff to worry about. Vintage toys. I still got Fantastic Four pops to get. So I was like, you know what? There's going to be another wave of Power Rangers coming soon. I know it. That Ranger Slayer wave, which I'm super excited for. In fact, I think I'm going to save off opening up my Lord Draken for when I get the Ranger Slayer. But that's a badass figure. Now, Jelani got it, and I told Jelani he's got to bring it over. He actually put a little LED light in the front wheel, or the energy ball that's supposed to be the wheel, and it looks so badass. I'll get him to share a picture of it. He's actually calling me right now, which is odd. But I can't answer the phone because here I am on the... Maybe I should have answered it. What if it's something serious? What if he's like getting arrested right now? He wouldn't call me, trust me. He heard me talking about it. That's so crazy. I was talking about Jelani having that damn figure. That's hilarious. Why did he call me? Anybody that knows us, ask Jelani why he called me. Tell him I'm in the live stream. Anyway, he's going to bring it in, and we're going to play together, and we're going to show it off. Just read Failsafe trade paperback from Vault. It was okay. I agree. I thought it was okay. It wasn't like as good as some of their other stuff, but it was solid. It was decent. I need your thoughts at some point on the upcoming Empire collection. What I did War of the Realms and it was I'm not pumped for Empire. I think Empire is going to be it's going to be okay. So I don't think if you're just into events and stuff like that, it's not a thing to get into. I don't know. But when I actually read the first issue of Empire, I'll let you know. But I'll tell you this, first issue is probably going to be good, but we'll see how it pans out, right? War of the Realms was decent, I thought, just as far as the story itself, but as an event, it was not very good. I have the same feeling about Empire. There's not a lot of interest coming out from the community either. People are very disinterested in this right now. What's up, Dora? How are you doing? What's up, Tyler? I need to pick up that Ghosted in LA. It sounds cool when you talk about it. Yeah, it's a cool book. I think so. Hey, everybody. Bob's here from Everything Comics. What was that? What was that? Anyway. Yeah, man. Bob, how are you doing? Just watched your latest video with Bueller last night for your Coffee with My Comics. Man, that song gets stuck in my head. Stop talking about comic books or I'll kill you. It's a good song. Y'all, look at people reminiscing about MTV. Man, I'm behind y'all. What'd you think of Sweethearts #1 and Thor #4? Well, I haven't read those yet. My boss walked into the office while I was listening to 311 and asked me if it was lickety boom boom, so do you know anyone that's hiring? That's funny. Oh, Kid and Puke, I totally dug that that tag. Is that what you're sending me? You send me the original? .311 is playing at Avondale Brewing Company. It's on 4/26. I will be in New Mexico. They have great beer, so it's a bonus to go to Birmingham. Man, that's really right after. It's literally right. I got a lot going on that week. We got the debut of the Trash Pandas, which is our brand new minor league baseball team here in Huntsville. Super excited. I'm wearing a Trash Pandas hat right now. You can't tell because I guess they haven't gotten big enough to have a logo on the back of their hat, but it's on the front, which is to me the back. But anyway, so so we got opening day of the Trash Pandas. We've got the expo that weekend, and then I've got the Joe Rogan Dave Chappelle show, and that's right after that. So that's in Birmingham, right? The Avondale Brewing. That's interesting. They're doing it at the brewery. Seems like that could be really like intimate almost in a way. I know they're playing I don't remember where they're playing in Nashville or maybe it's not even Nashville. I'm pretty sure that's in Nashville, but I know they're playing in ATL. I talked to Jelani. It was nothing important. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. It's just weird that I was talking about him and he called me. That's one of them synchronicities. Love it. That song constantly plays in my head, says Bullseye Bob from Everything Comics. Hell yeah. If you don't follow Everything Comics, you really should. Get on there. It's great. They're nearing 1,000 subscribers. Super cool. Do you take donations elsewhere where you get a better cut than YouTube allows for? Well, I don't know. We get a pretty decent cut on Super Chats. Super Chats are always open here on the live streams. You can also join us over at patreon.com/PCP. You can join the community there and unlock exclusive content like early access to Comics Revisited, early access to the weekly comic book review, and a downloadable audio file available hours before the video drops. You can also, no, that's pretty much it. You can totally buy merch at our merch store. And if you go to popculturephilosophers.com or look in the description down below, you'll find a link. I think it's a TeePublic site. It's our merch store. We get literally nothing from there, but it's always cool to see people rocking PCP gear. But I think the best way to support us is on Patreon, just watching the videos, liking, sharing, and all that kind of stuff, and here on the Super Chats on the live streams. Speaking of Patreon, I want to thank once again our patrons, David H., Alex, Brian W., Nelson, Reggie, Josh, Brian S., David G., Dean, Dunlaney, Jason, Javi, Monmeet, Peter, Michael, Robert, Timo, TJ, and William. Thank y'all so much for allowing us to do what we do. Also, if you're on Patreon, you get access to the PCP After Hours podcast, which every time we do a podcast, we keep the mics live for 20 minutes and we just record the conversation. We sometimes have a very vague plan, but not really. Like in this last PCP After Hours, that was after the Kevin Smith podcast. By the way, Kevin Smith podcast live right now on popculturephilosophers.com. It's there. You can download it. It's on iTunes, all that stuff. Find us, Pop Culture Philosophers. But the after hours for that was mostly about pizza. And it was really fun, really fun, really fun. September 4th is Nashville at Bridgestone. Man, at Bridgestone? Well, they're not going to fill the whole place up, so it's got to be one of those half arena shows. That seems decent. They're in one of the amphitheaters in Atlanta, though, right? Avondale's a good size. Tickets are $60. I might go to the Avondale. I don't know. That'd be a really crazy final couple weeks of April. It would definitely slow up PCP for a couple weeks. If we're talking aliens this week, Starship Troopers deserves a shout-out. Well, let's see if you can make it to the aliens talk. That's going to happen later on. Man, it has been going for a minute, hasn't it? Everything Comics says, check your Facebook Messenger. Oh, yeah, I see something there. What's that? It's a string of numbers. It's a string of numbers. Oh, okay. Is that the tracking info for the cold brew that you're sending me, homie? Thank you so much. Bob's sending me some cold brew from Portland, Oregon. Mecca of coffee. Very excited for that. I thought you were trying to hit me with some kind of code, Bob. I was like, shield my eyes. It's like Deceased, you know? Like, shield. I've downloaded it. All of a sudden, it's like the end of Superman 3. I become all robotic and shit. Why not, right? What's up, Funko Fix Doggy? How are you doing? John says, I want to wish every woman a happy International Women's Day, but after the Deadpool movie, I'm glad to be single today. I don't quite get the end of that statement, but yeah, International Women's Day. So shout out to all the women out there. I don't think any are watching right now. I haven't seen any. So we'll see. If they're watching, they're keeping it low on the down low. Though we do have women fans of PCP and members of the PCP Army. So yeah, shout out to them, especially the women members of the PCP Army. Hell yeah. Oh, it's at Lakewood. All right. Seems like the Avondale one's going to be pretty solid. But the ones later in the year, you'll be available to go to. It'd be cool to go see 311 with you, Mike. What's up, Count Von Strange the Fourth? I really like that name. That's pretty dope. That's that Krakoa code. Hell yeah. Now we'll take a look at what's coming up in comic books as far as Image goes. Stop talking about comic books around killing you. We got Decorum #1 from Jonathan Hickman and Mike Huddleston. This is the book I am absolutely the most excited for. Come on, y'all. Jonathan Hickman launching a new creator-owned book. I'm super excited, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, yo, what about Dying in the Dead? What about Black Monday Murders? What about Feel Better Now? What about Frontier? Like, come on, man. Come on. Manifest Destiny #42 is out this week. Moonshine #17. Reaver returns with issue #7. Safe Sex #7. Snot Girl #15. Sonata #9. And Stealth #1, a new one debuting from Image Comics. from DC Comics. We've got the Aquaman Giant number 3. We've got Batman 89, the second printing, in case you missed out on it. Good luck with this one. It's probably going to be harder to find than the first one. Batman and the Outsiders number 11 is out this week. Batman's Grave number 6. Catwoman number 21. There's a facsimile edition of Detective Comics 38, first appearance of Robin, celebrating the 80th anniversary, and a whole bunch of dollar comics celebrating Robin. We got the Tim Drake Robin number 1. We got the death of Jason Todd. Like I said, the most important thing Jason Todd ever did was die. That's why you got Robin by Tim Drake, his first solo effort, and then you got the death of Jason Todd. Flash 751, Dollhouse Family number 5, the penultimate issue. What else? Green Lantern Season 2, number 2, which we just recently found out is indeed 12 issues, not 8. So super cool. Seems like the 5G stuff, which is going to cut into a lot of stuff, it's over. It's done. It seems like most of our worries are kind of dust in the wind, right? All they are is dust in the wind. Hawkman number 22, House of Whispers number 19. Looney Tunes 254, Ruby number 6. Superman number 21. Terrifics number 26 is out this week, and Wonder Woman 753, and second printing of Year of the Villain, Hell Arisen number 3. In case you missed it, good luck. And also Young Justice number 14. From Marvel Comics, Amazing Spider-Man 41, Ant-Man number 3. Avengers number 32, Avengers of the Wastelands number 3, Cable number 1. As if there weren't enough X-books, here's another one. I'm excited though. Phil Noto, Gary Duggan, come on. Come on, man. Ghost Rider number 6 is out this week. Gwen Stacy number 2, Hawkeye Freefall number 4. The Treasury-sized edition of the History of the Marvel Universe. Very excited for this release. Immortal Hulk number 32. Jessica Jones, Blind Spot, number 5. Spider-Man Black Cat Strikes, number 3. New Mutants, number 9. Nebula, number 2. Punisher Soviet, number 5, the penultimate issue. Spider-Ham, number 4, another penultimate issue. The debut of Star Wars Bounty Hunters with issue number 1. A second printing of Darth Vader, number 1, as well as Darth Vader, number 2, first printing. Star Wars The Rise of Kylo Ren, number 4. That's the final issue of that really hot series right now. Marvel Snapshot Submariner, number 1. Symbiote Spider-Man Alien Reality, number 4. A facsimile of Thor 229. Thor, number 4 is this week from Donny Cates. Some more Empire-related True Believers. Venom, number 24. And X-Men, number 8. That's what's coming up in comics. What are you excited about? The thing I'm most excited for is Decorum, the new Jonathan Hickman book. Have you ever had the White Zombie White Ale? It's from my hometown in North Carolina. No, I have not. Oh, why thank you, Eric. Tweedly dee, Rockin Robin. Did anybody watch the news interview show that I did where we were talking about locusts? Did anybody watch that? If not, you can find it. There's a YouTube channel. It's called Nexus. Just type in like Nexus News. You'll find it. There's a locust episode they did, and I'm at the end of it, like 20 minutes into that episode. They talked to me about locusts in pop culture. It was really an interesting experience, and it was really cool, and I was super nervous to do it, but everybody says I did well, so I guess it's cool. Oh, Tyler, what's cooler than any kind of omnibus for East to West are those deluxe hardcovers. They collect 15 issues each. They get year 1 and year 2 out right now. Year 3 will be the final collection. They're beautiful, homie. I got one right here. Or I thought I did. All right. I don't know where it is right now, but I'll find it. It's a beautiful, beautiful collection, though. Sounds good, Mike. Jay says, glad I pre-ordered those second prints of Year of the Villain #3 and Batman 89. Hell yeah, man. They're going to be probably harder to find, I would say. Because they're going to be allocated. Robert says, I've completely left Star Wars alone after those horrid movies. I assume you're talking about the sequel trilogy. Even if you didn't like those, these new Star Wars comics are pretty decent, and they're mostly focused on the original trilogy era. Like the current Star Wars books are set right after Empire Strikes Back, but they're pretty cool. They're nice little fill-ins and stuff like that. So even if you didn't like the new movies, I would say that the main Star Wars title and Darth Vader, especially the Darth Vader books are definitely worth checking out. Those are pretty fun. John says, any thoughts on the Batmobile? Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, buddy. Yes, I have thoughts on the Batmobile. That's one of our next things that we'll be talking about. But it's on the schedule. We got to wait till we get there. Is that a coily figure from Q*bert back there? If it is, you're on a different level of dopeness in my book now. Homie, that totally is a coily from Q*bert. I also got a Q*bert as well. So I got both of them. So I am on that next level of dopeness. But thank you, God Tank, so much. See the Q*bert? I love that damn game. Let's see here. Hey, Tank, great cover you did of Mercy #1. What cover did you do? Chris is here. Just got here. Did I miss the Teen Dog Shades talk? No. You haven't missed the real Teen Dog Shades talk yet. I'll tell you that. '80th anniversary Joker coming soon. What do you think about it, Rob? I think highly of it. I'm super cool with it. I understand the reason why they're doing all these anniversary specials, and it's, they make money, whatever. They're like $10 a pop sometimes. But they have some really nice creative teams lined up for the Joker one, and those covers are pretty fire. I'm definitely going to be checking out the Bill Sienkiewicz cover, the 1980s cover. I'm totally getting those. I'll definitely check out God Tank's Instagram for show. How many people we got in here right now? Let's see. We have 45 people in here and 33 likes. So let's hit that thumbs up button, everybody. Let's try to hit the same number if we can. Q*bert is awesome, but my old school game of choice is Burger Time. Burger Time's a good one, Michael. What about old root beer tapper? That's good stuff, man. That really is. All right, couple announcements real quick. We got a new episode of Comics Revisited coming out this upcoming Friday. It's all about 0 Hour. That's right. Me and Jelani are continuing our look at all the DC Crisis events. This week, we're talking about 0 Hour. It was not the funnest revisit, but still pretty decent. Tomorrow morning, I have an advance review of No One's a Rose #1, which releases March 25th from Vault Comics. The advance review goes up tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Central Time. Yeah, those are the announcements. This is the penultimate episode of Comics Revisited Season 2, which I'm kind of excited to kind of go ahead and get through. It's more difficult than we realized, but it's fine. And the final episode is going to be about the Watchmen, which I still have a lot of work to do on that video. Robert says, I went back and gave Wonder Woman Black Label another shot. Went ahead and picked them up. Better than I thought originally. Yeah, that book's good. Dead Earth. Dead Earth's a really good book. I thought it was solid. My kids and I love Rampage and Gauntlet. Yeah, man. We used to have a Gauntlet game arcade at the movie theater that I worked at. Still the movie theater we go watch our movies at, actually. But I used to work there, and people would go there all the time. They'd just be gathered around because you could put in your code or whatever. Rampage is a good classic, though. I love me some Rampage. I haven't seen that movie yet with The Rock. Is that ain't good? Is that ain't good, y'all? You've seen that? All right, John asked about it, so let's go ahead and talk about it. The Batmobile was revealed from Matt Reeves from the new Batman movie. There it is. Really like it. I really like it. I know some people are kind of goofing on it, being like it's the Bat and the Furious. But I like it. You know, it's a veering away from the whole tank idea, the more armored, defensive design. It's just a car that some dude like strapped a jet engine to. You know, speaking of jet engines strapped to cars, we'll be talking about that later on when we talk about aliens. But I like it. I think it looks cool. The biggest, most important thing to me about these images is that when they first showed the Bat costume, and it was that stunt double, and I was saying, we did a whole thing about it, and I was saying, you know, we haven't seen that costume the way it's supposed to look. Well, here we see the costume the way it's supposed to look. And I know it's not much, but it's enough. And it looks good. It looks sharp. It looks like Batman. I like that. I love that. I love the Batmobile. It's not super Batman-y like the 89 Batmobile. It's not an armored tank or Dark Knight Returns-y like, you know, the Dark Knight or, you know, even the Ben Affleck Batman movies. But it looks like a dude just took a really cool car, super powered it up, and put a jet engine on it. And I think it looks super cool. And Batman looks amazing there. And I love the color grading. I love the way that the entire thing seems and feels. I love it. I could not be more excited for this. I really like it. I think it's super cool. It reminds me a little bit of a more flamboyant version of what, and you guys know I'm a Blade fan, but in the Blade movies, his car's one of the dopest things. I think it's a Charger, right? But it's dope, and he's just got this badass car. It's black, it's cool, it gets the job done. That seems like this is a more practical, down-to-earth, early Batman type thing. You can see that in his suit. You can see it in the car. I think it looks amazing. I'm just going to pull him up again because I think this car looks fire. I think it looks great. It looks enough Batman-like, right? But it doesn't look like he went out of his way to paint any kind of like bat fins on it or anything like that. But it's got nuances in it from previous Batmobiles. And from the back, it looks like a beast. If you saw this thing driving down the street like at 120 miles per hour, you don't need no bat fins on that, man. You know what I'm saying? I think it looks badass. I do. I'm stoked. I'm stoked. I think the costume's going to look great when we see it like live action, when we see it on film. I think Robert Pattinson's going to do a great job. I'm getting really, really pumped for this movie. I'm starting to feel like I was before Batman Begins came out. Because when you would hear what Christopher Nolan was saying and what Christian Bale was saying, and you would start seeing the images, I kept telling my girlfriend at the time, like, this is going to be like the Batman from the comic books. This is going to be like the Batman from the comic books. I took the day off of work. It came out on a Wednesday. I took the day off when Batman Begins came out. I went and saw it in like the afternoon show. Oh my goodness. Like I remember that day vividly, and I remember just being like, this is the Batman from the comic books that I have read. This is Bruce Wayne from the comic books. I still think Batman Begins is one of the best comic book movies ever made. I think it's one of the best Batman movies. I know a lot of people are in the Dark Knight. Dark Knight's good, but Batman Begins to me really hits all those moments, and it does it without like slowing up the pace. I feel like Dark Knight kind of slows up the pace too much. I felt like that movie was ending 45 minutes before it actually ended. It's kind of like, it's kind of like Return of the King syndrome. But I love all three of those Christopher Nolan movies, and I love the Tumblr, and I think that's cool and all, but this new Batmobile, fire. I'm so excited. This movie's really got me going. Let's look at some comments. Let's see here. Tyler says, new Batmobile is dope. Steve McQueen would drive this. Hell yeah, he would. Chris says, I dig this Batmobile and I dig the bat suit. Everything I see gets me more excited. Hell yeah. Jay says, Batman is definitely going for a more grounded feel, more realistic, and I think it's a great thing to do. Hamburger Basket says, I really like the Batmobile. Kind of reminds me of Robbie Reyes, but it looks great. It really does. Funko Fix Doggy says, Batmobile, fire, 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 fire. Hell yeah. God Tank says, new Batmobile is fire, 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 fire. Funko Fix Doggy once again adds in a more badass Batman. Robert Shaboda says, that car is the shit. 1/4 mile at a time, says Mark. Funko Fix Doggy, yeah, you're right. You know, if he's going 120 miles an hour down the streets of Gotham, it's only 1/4 mile at a time, right? Funko Fix Doggy says, imagine the gadgets in it. I don't think it's going to have many gadgets in it. I think this is a gadget-free Batman. The gadgets have never been the most important thing to me about Batman. So I think that this is a Batman pre a lot of gadgets. He'll have the grappling hook. He'll have some detective gear. He'll have some bat shark repellent. But that's probably about it and all he needs. That's like streamlined. Batmobile looks like a 70s Corvette with the nose chopped off. Keaton's Batmobile was based off an early 80s Vet, which the Corvette always looked Batmobile-like. And Jay says, can we please get a Batmobile or a Batman Beyond movie? Come on, DC. And then Eric says he wants to see a Deadpool versus Batman movie crossover. I don't know about that one. That'd be weird, wouldn't it? Oil slick like Spy Hunter. Chris says, I want this movie to be so grounded and realistic that there is a scene where he's speeding down the street and at the end of his cape closed in the door tracking on the pavement. Yeah, why not, right? Hell yeah. All right, y'all, we're about to take a quick break here on Rockin Robbie Live, but we'll be right back to get into some more fun talk tonight. In fact, we'll be talking about Bale, Christian Bale. Who's he going to be playing in Thor 4? We just heard that he's playing the villain. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about who I personally want to see in a Fantastic Four MCU film. And, of course, it's a Teen Dog Shades night, so we're going to be talking about dun, 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 aliens. Do you believe? Are you a believer? Do you think we're being visited? That's what we're going to talk about. Anyway, I really do appreciate it. Here is a treat. It's a Basement Show song that I haven't revealed to many people here on the channel yet. It's called What It Takes. Me and my partner, Kevin, Contact and Skeptical, respectively. We put this song together with my buddy Josh Spencer. Mad props to Josh Spencer. He really, really helped us out with this one, adding in the vocals on the chorus and the guitar work. So here you go, and also spot Jelani in this photo from about 2006. We'll be right back here on Rockin Robbie Live, y'all.
So lust, still going inside. I'm a victim of pride, I couldn't ease my mind. I gave up hope in exchange for flesh, and she gave it all up but didn't find a rest. Then life rolled over, it seems. I'm a victim of time and fulfillment of dreams. I had to take a chance so I could walk a better path. Ascension to the mountain and perfection of my craft, but loss still invades. I'm a victim of hope and a failure to engage. We stumble upon a connection, but it breaks, and I want to get it back if I have what it takes.
I don't know who I am. What it takes to be all the things that you are thinking of when you look down on me. But I know I'll be alright if I can make it through the night. And all the memories you made for me will hide me in the light.
I don't know why in the way he made me try to live a dream acting like it don't faze me. Does that make me crazy? Maybe, but still I survive, making mistakes and learning. The only way I get by, and yes, I've had my share of struggles along the way. Almost gave up into this life, but there be hell to pay. Dry my eyes and set my focus on brighter days, and it took a little time to see through the haze. And I pray that this road I'm on does not fade away, but if it does, I'll find another and increase my pace. Cause whether first or last, that's how you play the game. Talents are given, but very rarely displayed. So when it's all said and done, you're on your way to wherever we go. When this life fades to gray, did you have what it takes to finish this race? Or did you give in to your fears and waste away disgraced?
I don't know who I am or what it takes to be all the things that you are thinking of when you look down on me. But I know I'll be alright. I can make it through the night, and all the memories you made for me will hide me in the light, in the light, the light, in the light, the light.
Some people ask me still, yo, they must be blind. Is it worth the price you pay? You haven't made a dime. Give up, stop wasting your time. You used to wine and dine. A little criminal activity, but mostly sublime. And so I stop a mid-sentence, politely decline to engage in conversations that don't enlighten my mind. I'm searching for the truth in a world of lies, and so I'm skeptical but hopeful, and I'm changing lives.
So God, can you hear my pleas? The tears start to fall as I drop to my knees. I believe, you know I believe, but this life needs a reason, and I'm starting to see that the path that I walk, I don't walk alone. And the times that I've slipped, all the times that I've grown, without my family, I never would have flown. And I'm hidden in your light, so I'm going back
I
home.
don't know who I am or what it takes to be all the things that you are thinking of when you look down on me. But I know I'll be alright. I can make it through the night, and all the memories you made for me will hide me in the light.
Hey everybody, welcome back here to Rockin Robbie Live. Here on Pop Culture Philosophers, I am Rockin Robbie Billups. On behalf of everybody here at Pop Culture Philosophers, thank you for joining us for the live stream. This is the show where we chat about comic books, movies, pop culture, and a whole lot more. We always have a lot of fun. You can join the PCP Army. It's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can do that on Facebook. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. You can follow me personally on Twitter at @TheRockinRobbie. You can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/PCP, just like David H., Alex, Brian W., Nelson, Reggie, Josh, Brian S., David G., Dean, Dunlaney, Jason, Javi, Manmeet, Michael, Peter, Robert, Timo, TJ, and William, and others. And while the song was going on, someone tried to sneak in a super chat without me noticing. Lee D. Everybody give a big shout out to Lee D. With a $20 super chat. That's an orange color. I don't know. I rarely see the orange color. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate that. That helps keep the dream alive. It helps keep us knowing that we have support and doing what we're doing. And it really helps us. It really does. We've gotten the new camera recently because of super chats here on Patreon. Here on YouTube, and of course our Patreon supporters. So thank you so much, Lee D. First time donator. Much appreciated, my dog. Thank you for the kind comments about the song, everybody. That's one of my favorite songs. My mother, who's no longer with us, always told me that was her favorite song that I ever did. So I really that song has a close place in my heart because of that. that Bama sound. We were trying to do our own thing, Mudfoot. We try to have a sound that kind of did its own thing, and I don't know. We try to always everything we did. We tried to We try to make songs that matter, if that makes sense. At least matter to us at the time. I don't know. I'd like to get back into making music one day. I still have ideas. I still write rhymes. Not as much as I used to. I used to be a rhyme writing fiend. I used to work at a Honda dealership. And for a while I was in the Acura department. And this was at the height of the Basement Show. THA Basement Show, by the way. So I would have a pen and pad. I would be writing lyrics all the time. There were so many that were so stupid. But yeah, I still have those notebooks, and they're always fun to flash back on. Anyway, we're here for the second half of Rockin Robbie Live. And once again, Lee D. Thank you so much. This half, we're going to be talking about who I think should play the roles in a new Fantastic Four film. We'll be talking about aliens. We'll be talking about Christian Bale and his role in Thor 4. Meanwhile, y'all are the reason why this show exists. The reason why I come here on Sunday nights, and we started doing this it's been like 2 years we've been doing this now, right? So this is something I've always wanted to do because it's a way that I can talk to y'all directly. It's one thing to build a community. We can chat here and there. We can chat on the PCP Army. We can do all that jazz, right? But it's a whole other animal to be here talking with y'all live each and every Sunday night. Sometimes we miss, but it happens. Life. John says, what if I show my support with a PCP face tattoo, something classy? I'll tell you this, John. If you get like a pyro-style tattoo of PCP on your face, I mean, damn, that will live forever. That'll live forever, man. Oh, man, that's fun. That's fun. All right, Eric says Bale is beginning to play Magog. You mean the Mangog? All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. Christian Bale, we already know, is cast in the next Thor movie. Thor is Thor Love and Thunder. It's going to have Jane Foster picking up the hammer and becoming Thor. Seems like it's going to be a little bit based on, I don't know, the Mighty Thor run by Jason Aaron, in which that happens. With that being the case, Christian Bale has a really good track record of playing white male douchebags. He really does. Think about the Shaft movie with Samuel L. Jackson. Think about his role in American Psycho. And it seems to me like Dario Agger is exactly who he's playing. He's one of the villains from that run. Jason Aaron, Russell Dodderman, Matt Wilson, and others. It seems like a no-brainer to me. And I said this on the weekly pop culture wrap-up, but if you want Thor to have a big, epic battle, street-level battle, this dude also turns into a Minotaur, whatever. He turns into a big bull dude that can rival the power of Thor. Right now, he's tangling up with the immortal Hulk. So this is a powerful dude, right? So me personally, I think Christian Bale's playing that character. That's just me. I think this is pretty obvious. At least to me. Now, I see some people here talking about the Mangog. I think the Mangog is going to be a factor. That was a factor in that run, right? It was all building up. You had Loki going on. I don't know if Loki's going to be tied into this Thor movie because it seems like they're doing their own thing with the Loki movie, or the Loki TV series, I should say, the Disney Plus series. But between him and the Rox, because he's the head of the Roxxon Corporation, right? This evil corporate dude, right? Taika Waititi's coming back. I feel like this is lining up, y'all. I think Roxxon's going to be in here. I think it's going to be Dario. I think he's going to turn into the Minotaur. I think he's going to fight up with both Thors. But the Mangog is going to be the big deal. The Mangog's going to be completely CG. You don't need an actor for that. Well, you need a voice actor. But anybody could do that. Because the Mangog's going to talk. But I mean, it could be anybody. But they might get someone high profile, But the Mangog's going to be in it, right? but I'm pretty sure that Dario is exactly what's going on here. Now, Jay says Gore the God Butcher. Now, that's an interesting idea. And he could play that role, and he could play it well, but even that run, that's just the start of something. The MCU has been taking loosely from the comic books the entire time, right? Loosely. So they're going to take ideas. I guarantee you, Taika read those Jason Aaron, Jane Foster Thor books, and he was like, this Dario guy is a corporate weasel who turns into a monster. Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's who Christian Bale is going to play. The Mangog is going to be a factor. It's going to be the big factor. Jane may even sacrifice her life for sure. In the comics, they brought her back. But in the movies, they don't have to bring her back. Why? Because Natalie Portman comes back to do one movie as Thor. She gets to become Thor in the movies. She gets a higher paycheck. And then she can just die and dip out. And then you don't have to worry about resurrecting the character. You get to tell the arc and have its natural progression. My biggest problem with the Jason Aaron Thor run is that Jane didn't stay dead. And I'm not trying to say that Jane should have died, but that was such a powerful moment that to bring her back like that so quickly, it kind of really soured the whole final act of that book. That was all about sacrifice. However, resurrection's a part of that, especially when you're dealing with pop culture mythology as we do here on the channel, with comic books, for instance. So, the resurrection is there. It makes sense, but it could have been paced out in a different way. Could have worked a little bit better. That being said, Dario Agger, totally who I think Christian Bale's playing in that movie. I hear he's a D-bag in real life. Is that then still acting? Robert, I've heard that as well. I would argue that most people are probably D-bags in their real life. I'm sure if you asked enough people, you'd hear that about me. If you asked me, I'd probably tell you that. See, on the Teen Dog Shades night, we just get real. No one's really asked me a Teen Dog Shady question tonight, by the way. For those of you new to the idea, Teen Dog Shades just happened to be one night I was wearing these shades because I thought it'd be goofy and fun. They're from a comic book called Teen Dog. Teen Dog's a cool character. And I got a little metaphysical that night, and everybody said let's just blame the shades, right? And so every once in a while we have a Teen Dog Shades night. Every once in a while we just have a Teen Dog Shades night. How's everybody doing? Let's get some conversation going. How are y'all doing? Some people saying Balder. Oh, but they're joking. But that would be cool. It'd be cool to have Balder actually show up in the movies. But I don't think that's who Christian Bale's playing, especially since it was confirmed. And the way it was confirmed was that Tessa Thompson revealed it in an interview or something with Entertainment Weekly because she's in Westworld apparently, and they got a new season of Westworld coming, so. If you noticed, the comic book changed behind me. It changed from Fantastic Four 46 to Shogun Warriors #1. Just want to point that out. All right. Well, I guess we can just get into the next thing then. John, that's on you to figure out. But the subconscious deals in symbols. I'll tell you that much. So that will help guide you on your way. But if you're ever trying to interpret a dream, don't ever go to a book or a website about dream interpretation. The best way to interpret dreams is to get deep into meditation. Try to break down the wall at times between your conscious and your subconscious brain. And if you're really interested in this. And one of the best ways to do this is through meditation and a dream journal. So write down every dream you have. So I know it seems silly, right? I know it seems silly. And it's a terrible, it's a practice that's really hard to keep up with. But keep a journal near your bed. And when you wake up in the morning, make it a habit that the first thing you do is write down your dream. over time, you'll find out very significant and profound things about the symbols and in your subconscious and what they represent. I used to have these dreams where I was always in my grandmother's apartment and there were all these like old artificial flowers around, and I would go outside. There were all these people around, dressed nice. It was almost like a wake funeral type like vibe to it. I started having those dreams before my grandmother died, and then she died, and I had them a little bit more profoundly after that, and I still have them occasionally. And whenever I have a dream that could be something considered more like a sleep paralysis type thing, my grandmother's usually involved in those, which is interesting. My altar is also actually my grandmother's, like an end table for my grandmother's house. It's just an interesting connection. Anyway, it's Teen Dog Shades night. We won't go further than that. And I would go outside and I would look up and I would see the planets, right? And the planets would be so huge in the sky, and they would look like, do you know that old school movie, like the Man on the Moon or whatever it is? They use the footage of it in that Smashing Pumpkins video for Tonight. They would have like faces like that, but they look like wood etchings, and they'd be alive and animated and colorful. And they would all have a very distinct personality. And then when I started learning more about, say, like, I don't know, like astrological symbolism and Kabbalistic type theory, those images started making more sense, and I was starting able to interpret those dreams in certain ways that were very interesting to me, and that actually helped me discover things about me on the inside that I may not have actually necessarily been aware of. So don't sleep on this kind of stuff. It's real. The mind is crazier than the universe, and the universe is fucking crazy, just so you know. Universe, fucking multiverse. Jesus Christ. You know the craziness that's out there right now? If you ever just read, like Brian Greene wrote a book called The Hidden Reality. And it blew my mind, right? Like multiversal theory is something that was kind of typical to a comic book sci-fi fan, but to see it explained in very layman's terms by as near to layman terms as you can get. And Brian Greene's really good at that, like relating these crazy mathematical concepts into common language and experience. That book will blow your mind. He's got a new book that I'm really excited to dig into until the end of time. I showed it off a couple weeks ago here. Haven't gotten to that, though, because I barely made any progress in Dark Tower Book 6 once I got through like 140 pages. So I got to get back to that, but I've been reading old school Star Trek stuff and like comic books and old school Fantastic Four. See how that one comment just led into all of that? That's what a Teen Dog Shades night is, y'all. That's what it is. Name a dorky comic idea you like but wouldn't and shouldn't happen. A dorky comic book idea that wouldn't and shouldn't happen. Harleypool. But one day it's going to happen. Amalgam coming back. Harley Quinn merging with Deadpool and being Harleypool. You know how many books that would sell? That'd be the next million comic book seller. I'll guarantee you that. Especially if they had like 50 variants to it. You have Matina, you'd have Art Germ, you bring in all the big dogs, right? Yeah, they would sell so many of that. Like I swear, all this talk about the Marvel DC thing again, and I think that's one of the reasons why Donny Cates did what he did and why Jeff Johns did what he did. They wanted to get that talking going, right? But until Joe Quesada signs off on it, Dan DiDio being gone from DC is not going to help you get a Marvel versus DC crossover anytime sooner. But that's a step. The next step would be Joe Quesada signing on. And then the next step is getting Jim Lee, and Jim Lee would be down. And then Marvel could somehow shank that somehow turn that into a way to get Jim Lee to do more original covers, because right now they're just reprinting his old artwork on covers. So like, why not, right? Learning to take control in your dreams is cool. Yeah, this thing is like once you start writing down your dreams, you then start getting better at at controlling yourself in your dreams. It's called lucid dreaming, right? And that's how you do it. Like, people want to know how to lucid dream, start writing down every dream that you have. Right, as soon as you wake up, write it down. Write it down, because you forget shit, right? Every detail you can remember. It may seem tedious, and it is tedious as hell, y'all. It really is. You wake up, you don't want to write down your dream. You wake up, you just want to wake up. You just want to go get some coffee, put some water in your face, jump in the shower. You know me, I like to get to the shower. Actually, I like to stretch out my leg. I've been having these feet and calf problems, but you just want to do that. You don't want to like write down your dream, but you got to reflect. And writing down your dreams isn't the most important thing. Like, writing down just journaling is a big deal. Like, you can really elevate your life by journaling, because you're able to look back at yourself objectively and notice trends in behavior and all kinds of craziness. The best way to interpret dreams is to give all objects a voice and see what they are saying. All objects are a part of yourself. Eric is wise with wisdom. And wise with wisdom is the kind of things we say on a Teen Dog Shades night, y'all. Ouija boards are the craziest thing I've ever experienced. Share love, let me tell you something. The craziest things I've experienced with Ouija boards, number one, when I was like in second grade, I was at an apartment complex I lived at a friend's house. Bunch of us there, bunch of rascally kids. Parents are gone. We're in the living room. Couple kids in the back. We're in the living room playing with a Ouija board. All of a sudden, the apartment fills up with smoke. The smoke alarm goes off. I literally, at like 8 years old or whatever the hell it was, jump out the window and run home and never look back. Now, the kids in the back were probably like smoking or doing something they weren't supposed to do and caught something on fire. But that really scared me. The craziest thing to me about Ouija boards is that it's me and John. We didn't do it last year, but we always did a PCP Halloween party. We did 3 in a row. Maybe we should do one this year. It'd be super fun. But we would always have a room set up with a Ouija board in it with like dim lights and candles and just look creepy and cool. The amount of people that would refuse to step into that room. Like, I'm not even going in that room because you got a Hasbro board game in there, homie. That blew me away. Stuff like Ouija boards and just some of the more popular ideas about the supernatural or the metaphysical, however you want to term it, just seems like it's silly, The Ouija board. It's made by Hasbro. There's nothing inherent in that board that's going to do anything crazy. But people, and if you don't think that us here in America are a superstitious lot, and I know I live in the South, so maybe it's a little bit different, but I don't think it is. And anybody that lives outside of the South, I know there are several of y'all here, let me know if it's true. The people that are so wary of a Ouija board because of what they've heard or a movie or just ideas, like, it's crazy. This thing is made by Hasbro. Are you scared of a Power Rangers figure? Are you scared of a Transformer? Now, I'll tell you what, when I was a kid, growing up in the church, in a Baptist church down here in the South, they were trying to tell me that the Transformers were like a satanic plot to infiltrate the youth of America. Because only God is more than meets the eye. So maybe some people really do believe that. But however, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. The coronavirus is a mirror image of our current political state. Well, I don't get too much into politics, but it is a Teen Dog Shades night, so let me just leave it at this. The coronavirus is a serious thing that we need to look into. People need to wash their hands. People need to take precaution when they're out in public. I understand why Emerald City Comic Con got delayed and other things are getting postponed and delayed and all that kind of. It makes sense. I understand. At the same time, don't always trust the media. I think they're hyping it up a little too much. It's not that I'm saying it's not something that we need to be concerned about, but I think they're like elevating it to a level where people are like near panic about it. So, remember the swine flu, SARS. It's related to SARS. I mean, this stuff is real and it hits people hard and it's not a thing to make light of. It really isn't. It really isn't. But it's also not a thing to like get super wrapped up in and like go panic mode about. Emerald City, I don't think that was panic mode. That's a good decision they made. Maybe what led to it was panic mode. However, Seattle's like the U.S. entry point for this. So there's a lot of stuff going on in Washington right now. So I understand all of that. All of that. But that being said, it really sucks when our fiction that we read becomes real, doesn't it? And it makes you scared. Because the fiction we read, think about how many books you've read about pandemics. There's a book called Pandemica, for Christ's sake, right? Bueller was recommending it so hardcore to me. I picked up all 4 issues. I'm gearing up to read it. I read the first issue, but I'm gearing up to read the rest of them. But the coronavirus is a real thing. It's a real thing to be concerned about. But I think that the media just blows everything up. As far as our current political climate, all I'm going to say is Biden, Schmeiden. Feel the burn. That's all I'm going to say. I am zero superstitious, but Major League Baseball brings it out of me. That's what I'm saying, Robert. Like, I feel you. I do this exact same thing. By the way, Major League Baseball, what the fuck is up with the Yankees and the medical staff? What the fuck? Are you serious? I'm so pissed off. Aaron Judge has a broken rib that happened in September. Nobody noticed that. And now they're saying, like, I wish you would have spoke up. Are you serious? All you guys say is, like, play through it. Walk it off. Like, I was in baseball. I'm not at that level, but I'm assuming it's the same mentality, right? Like, come on, man. Like, the Yankees medical staff fucking sucks, okay? It really does. Something needs to change there. They need to stop passing around blame to players or all this kind of stuff. The insistency, the concurrentness. I don't even know how to say this, but how many injuries they're dealing with, how many of those injuries are continuing to plague the team even into the 2020 season. Stanton's out, Severino's out. He needs Tommy John surgery. They may have known about that last year. Aaron Judge is out. He won't be there for opening day because he's got a broken rib that's been broken since like September, and they let him work out all winter long. What the Yankees medical team? I think we need to look into that. It's basically almost. I'm not trying to be crazy. I just said that, the media raising hype about the coronavirus, right? But here I am being like, the Yankees medical team is malpractice. God damn it, malpractice. Jesus. Whatever. It's a little rant about the Yankees there. I still think we're going to win the World Series. Fuck the Astros. Let's have our Dodgers-Yankees World Series this year. Let's do it. I don't know if the Dodgers will get there this year, though. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, baseball will bring that shit out, right? Baseball will bring out the superstition. I'm not even kidding. Like, I want to turn my hat backwards because we need to turn this around. I'm serious. It happens. It happens. Yankees medical team created coronavirus. Jesus. That's hilarious. I don't want to make it's not something to make light of. It's a serious thing. But I think the media blows some things into craziness. I just think that's the media. That's just what they do. I don't know if I fault the media anymore for that. I mean, that's been going on for over 100 years, let's be honest. William Randolph Hearst, anybody? Literally the reason why Orson Welles' career was busted. Well, Orson had a lot to do with that as well. Yeah, the medical staff is pretty bad. I wouldn't let them treat Jesus Christ. Robbie, you drop mad knowledge. That's why your stream is one of my musts. Well, thank you so much. Sometimes we go beyond comic books, don't we? It's fun. It's fun. Taki! We got another super chat, everybody. Thank you so much, homie. Really do appreciate that. Taki616 with the super chat, helping support the channel. If you want to support the channel, you can do so by just watching this video, liking this video, sharing this video, subscribing to the channel, following me on Twitter at @RockinRobbie, following Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook and Instagram, going to the website, popculturephilosophers.com, listening to podcasts, downloading our podcasts on iTunes, rating us highly, giving good reviews, all that kind of stuff, joining us at patreon.com/PCP, or just doing a super chat here in the channel. One of the most direct ways you can let me know your appreciation financially. But you don't have to do that. That's why we really appreciate it when people do. What's up, Barry Allen? Call me the Flash Betty yet I'm Barry Allen. A little bit of J-Strick for you. Up in your face. Teen Dog Shades night. That means it's the night where we get a little crazy. We were just talking about dreams. We were talking about coronavirus. We were talking about the Yankees medical staff. We're about to talk about who I think should play the characters in the Fantastic Four movie from the MCU. Share Love T, you are my homie. And I know this for a fact. Not only did you do that awesome fan art, check out this comment, y'all. Graham Hancock is a good person to research aliens and ancient cultures. Homie, I'm a Graham Hancock fan. Graham Hancock, Randall Carlson, Robert Temple. Come on, my man. Hell yeah. I'm not even kidding. Graham Hancock's amazing. I just finished Fingerprints of the Gods, an audiobook, which now I'm reading, or listening, I should say, audio-wise. I'm always listening to an audiobook. It was Fingerprints of the Gods. That was an 18-hour-long audiobook. Jesus Christ. That's crazy. But now I'm listening to Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. Holy shit. That's a hella good audiobook. That really is. It'll make you uncomfortable, but I think it's something everybody needs to listen to. It's only 3 hours, too. It's quick, but man, it's impactful and profound. And I'm very glad that my homie Brian Weaver, one of our patrons and excitable member of the PCP crew, really happy that he brought that to my attention. Hey, look at Robert. Holy cow. Another $20 super chat. Thank you so much, my man. We got another orange up in the business. Aren't you glad it didn't say orange again? What was it? Aren't you glad it didn't say banana? I don't know how it goes. This is what Robert says. My kids leave me alone only when I do laundry and listen to live YouTube. That's worth a tip. Thanks, Robbie. Well, you're welcome. Glad to keep the kids away from just a minute. Hell yeah, man. Oh, man, it's a Teen Dog Shades night. Can I say this? I don't like kids. I don't. I know it's not necessarily like a common thing to say, especially for someone that works at a comic shop. So I have learned in my job to avoid kids as much as possible and let people that can deal with them do. I don't deal well with kids. I don't like kids. They're little shits. They're little people. And people, can I be honest for a second? We got some super chats. I want to be honest. I got to give you the real because it's Teen Dog Shades night, right? This is what, whenever you see the shades out there, you need to let us know. You need to watch. Man, kids are little people. They're little shitty people, and we let them get away with it because of their kids, right? Bullshit. That's not fair. That's not fucking cool. Nah. I think little kids, and the comic book I did, and I sent it to Dylan. I'm waiting for Dylan to read it and do a review about it. I want to see that, Dylan. Dylan's no longer here, I'm sure. He's doing other things, probably at work, but maybe he'll watch this on the replay. Dylan, I want you to read that book and let us know what you think about it. But yeah, I helped create an all ages sci-fi tale, right, for kids, and it's kind of aimed at kids. And I was like, and my number one thing was like, well, we're not going to talk down to kids because kids are fucking people. And I think as an extension of that, kids need to be treated like people. Don't let a kid get away with anything you wouldn't let a 30-year-old get away with. Animals are different. If an animal killed a human, I would be like, the human must have done something wrong. But if a baby killed a human, like an adult human, I would be like, what the hell did that baby? That's a monster baby. But if a lion ate a person, I'd be like, that person was obviously in the wrong place because the lions just don't appear out of nowhere. Oh, John. Yeah, as John says, I also accept appreciation in the form of face tattoos, a la Pyro from Marauders. So if you get like a PCP style face, John, why don't you get my face tattooed on your face? Would that be a trip? That would be a trip to see my face tattooed on someone else's face. I'll be honest with you. That'd probably wig me out. I'd probably have to wear 2 pairs of shades that night. Robert says he likes his kids, no one else's. I hear that's how it works. Anyway. We're having fun tonight. We haven't even gotten into alien talk yet, y'all. We may have to do a second break. I don't have another song prepared. All right, y'all. Logan says, Emily Blunt and her husband will do a great job as Mr. and Mrs. Fantastic. All right. First of all, no one calls the Invisible Woman Mrs. Fantastic. But I get what you're saying, Logan. I'm not blaming you. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. So, Fantastic Four is my jam. It's my favorite comic book of all time. I love it. It's amazing. Her husband is the guy that played Jim in The Office, right? Yeah. What's his name? John Krasinski? Yo, they would be amazing. They would be absolutely amazing. I'd be into that. Totally. I don't think necessarily it has to be Emily Blunt, but I can't think of somebody better. But I want Krasinski as Reed. Number one, look at him. And I had the image pulled up, but I didn't get it on here yet. But Russell Dodderman did an image of Reed Richards because now he has the beard and he looked just like John. And yeah, that is solid. I think he's got the chops to it. Look at his Jack Ryan show. Look at his performance in The Office. Even though The Office is just this like silly, funny sitcom type thing, holy cow, his performance is really good. Look at the shape he's gotten into. You know, he started working out with Chris Pratt. So he's trying to get into like action roles. And that's why Jack Ryan's a thing right now. He wants to do it. They both want to do it. They both were asked recently. That's why this is hitting the news again. Hey, would you do it? They both were like, yeah, we'd do it. Well, yeah, they should. That would be amazing. Look at them in Quiet Place. They do an amazing job in that movie. Hell yeah, let John like write, co-produce, direct. I don't care. Can that be my Reed Richards? And while we're at it, can we just throw Zac Efron in as the Human Torch? Because that's another thing that's been really popular as an idea. And I'm not going to go against it. Look at that. Look at that right there. Would you not be sold on that for a Fantastic Four movie for the MCU? John Krasinski, I think is his name, right? Krasinski, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Him as Reed Richards, Emily Blunt as the Invisible Woman, and then Zac Efron, dreamy Zac Efron, by the way, from High School Musical 1, 2, and 3. Holy cow. I'd be down on that. Now, I know he's a little bit older now, but I think he could still pull it off. I think he could still play as Emily Blunt's younger brother. Who should play the Thing, though, right? Well, the Thing obviously is going to be CG or a guy in a suit. Probably going to be CG, but you're going to have a little bit of the Thing, right? A lot of people are talking about The Rock. I'd be cool with The Rock, but I see Chris just mentioned, I want Ben to look like a Kirby drawing. You want to know what's in my head right now as far as Ben Grimm? Channing Tatum. I don't have an image here because I know we all know what dreamy-ass Channing Tatum looks like. But I think Channing Tatum would be going, Gambit is a bust. It's not going to happen, homie. And he's gotten a little bit older. No, I think he could do Ben Grimm. I think he could. I think he's got some acting chops there. I think it could be. I think it could work. Eric, I think they'll do a CG thing. I really do. Look at Hulk. Look at how realistic Hulk could be. I think they're going to do things CG. They're not going to do another guy in a suit. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. I would rather have The Rock as the Submariner. I'm not even kidding. Taki, I agree. Channing Tatum would be really good. But more important than who's going to play the Fantastic Four would be who is playing Doctor Doom. Because I don't care that they've already done Doctor Doom. If they do an MCU Fantastic Four movie, they goddamn better do Doctor Doom. Who could play Doctor Doom? Next to John Krasinski? Next to Emily Blunt? Next to Zac Efron and Channing Tatum? These are my ideas, okay? And there are plenty of other ones, but like Marvel really needs to get on board with some of these ideas because this is really strong. The John and Emily argument, by the way, very strong. If you want to get another Ben, you want to get another Johnny, that's cool. That's fine. I would like to see what I picked. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Tracy Morgan is the thing? You're crazy. But who's going to play Doctor Doom? My pick? Oscar Isaac. Come on, y'all. Think about Oscar Isaac. Think about the potential that you could see in his Apocalypse performance. Think about that. That Apocalypse movie, it was shit. Let's be honest. But let's think about this. This dude as Doctor Doom, as Victor, right up there with John Krasinski, right? And Emily Blunt. Holy cow. This dude would play the hell out of Doctor Doom. He'd give him that regalness. He'd give him that gravitas that he would need. That's my picks. And I'm serious as hell about that. Oscar Isaac as Doctor Doom would be a dream come true for me. I would love it. I think it would be amazing. That'd be fantastic. No pun intended. I just always say fantastic. Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want. Hell yeah. Let's do that. And, yeah. That's good enough for me. And if you want to if I want to get into particulars about director, I'd actually like to see Steven Soderbergh do it. Take what he did with something like Solaris, apply that to a more actiony movie. I don't know if he'd do it. I don't know if that's in his vein. That'd be neat. Christopher Nolan would never happen, but that would be really cool. But that's the cast. The cast I would like to see, and I'm not even kidding. Out of all of those, the most important one to me is Oscar Isaac as Doctor Doom. I think he would act the hell out of Victor. I think he would do it so well. I really do. Hey, C3 is here. That's a good thing about these long-ass streams is that everybody has a chance to jump in. Timothy Olyphant as Doctor Doom? No, Timothy Olyphant would not be a good Doctor Doom, but he'd be a great Moon Knight. Let's hope for that. Viggo Mortensen as Doctor Doom. That could be decent. I've heard him mentioned for Ben Grimm. That could be decent. I don't think the age works so well with John Krasinski. So that's why I went more with Channing Tatum. Viggo is cool, and I think he could do some good things, but I would like to see him in maybe a different role. Maybe a Kang or something like that. But Oscar Isaac or bust for Doom for me. I'm serious as hell. Like, once I figure that out, like, come on. How about Ryan Johnson? Robert, I'll be honest with you. I think Ryan Johnson doing a Fantastic Four movie would be good. The only problem is we'd probably get Daniel Craig as Doctor Doom, and I wouldn't be totally sold on that. But maybe after this new Bond film he's done with any kind of big popcorn film. Always read Ben with a straight-up New York accent. He should. He totally should. Ben, I've always heard Ben in the voice that was in the 60s animated series, you know, that but yeah, Ben talks to me the way I feel like Jack Kirby talks. Like, if you take Jack Kirby, if you listen to interviews with him, and you gravel it up, like literally, I think that's how Ben talks to me. And I think Channing Tatum could do it. I think Channing Tatum is a better actor than we have allowed him to be. Does that make sense? Viggo would make a great Kang. DiCaprio as Doom? I don't see that one. I just don't. If DiCaprio joined the MCU, I would see him more like, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't even know how he'd fit in. Rick Jones? I still think DiCaprio's that kid from Titanic and Growing Pains. Now, I don't know who DiCaprio could play in an MCU film. That'd be interesting, though. I don't know about that. I don't know. He would have been a decent Loki, but I'm happy that we got Tom Hiddleston. All right, y'all. We're about to get to the true Teen Dog Shades talk, but first I do have to take another piss. So just look at this image of an alien and I'll be right back. Hey, everybody, we're back. I did notice earlier, and I thought about this while I was taking a piss, but Hero and the Kid popped in. I don't know if he's still here. I don't know if it's Sean or his son. I don't know if it's Sean or Will. But thank you for being here so much. If you haven't checked out Hero and the Kid, I should say, it's a great YouTube channel. In fact, let me run down real quick a list. John Hamm is the thing. I've seen that. It'd be okay. I don't think he would play so well as being a college roommate with John Krasinski. So I was thinking more of the age range, right? That's why I kind of dismissed John Hamm and Viggo Mortensen. Here are some YouTube channels. If you like comic books, if you like what we do here at PCP, I think you should check out if you haven't. Most of you probably already know these channels. Hero and the Kid is one of them. Everything Comics is one of them. Comics with Bueller, Jim Mint Collectibles, The Boy Who Had 7 Talks Comics, and 90 MF Comics. And there are plenty of other great ones too. And yeah, everybody, Joe Ryan. We miss him. Tim Roth was so right in Reservoir Dogs when he said Lawrence Turney should be the thing. He would be perfect. Yeah. Like 40 years ago, he would have been perfect. I didn't think Michael Chiklis was a bad cast, to be honest with you. Those movies have their highlights, but they're kind of outweighed by their lows. I would say. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I know we're running a little bit longer than usual, but that's what happens in these Teen Dog Shades nights sometimes. And I want to appreciate the super chats. Y'all have made this one of the most successful live streams ever as far as super chats go, and that really helps us out, really helps provide equipment, content. Obviously, equipment leads to content. The joy of what we do. We would do it without it, but thank you guys so much. You help us elevate our platform, and it's just amazing. Thank you so much. So, all right. I've got an X-Files book behind me. That's X-Files #1, actually, from Topps Comics. Used to be a very high-dollar book. I have that behind me for a reason. Because we're about to talk about aliens. First question I want to ask. And let me get my notes ready, because I actually took some notes on this. Frank, the #1 book I would recommend for you on this week is Decorum. Fantastic. Otherwise, check out the weekly comic book review Tuesday night. But Decorum's going to be dope. And a new Thor is out this week. Joe Rogan is the thing. The only problem with that is that Joe Rogan doesn't like to do acting roles. That being said, expect some Joe Rogan mentions in this upcoming subject. Aliens. First question I want to ask you. Do aliens exist? Well, hell yeah, aliens exist. For sure. It's like a mathematical certainty. Somebody, and maybe I should have done more research, I don't care. Somebody did it, like, they put it into an equation, right? They put it into an equation. Out of all of the stars in our known universe, right? Even just in our galaxy, right? Everybody agrees. There you go. Thank you for backing me up. Chris, Brian, C3, Robert, and Logan. Hell yeah, aliens exist. Life exists on other planets somewhere. It's a mathematical certainty. Dude put like this equation in of all the planets that would be Earth-like. And I saw something just the other day that it was like, and I'm probably going to get this wrong. Near 8 billion Earth-like planets in our galaxy alone? Come on. Come on. Tom DeLonge. Is it DeLonge or DeLonge? Yeah. Watch his Joe Rogan podcast. This is what's really funny. So I watched it, right? I watched all the Rogan UFO podcasts, right? And that guy is full of shit and just trying to sell something. And Joe knows that. And it's really interesting to watch an episode of that show where Joe knows his guest is full of shit. And that was just really, really interesting. Anyway, aliens, of course they exist. They exist. It's a real thing. I think they exist. Seems like most people here agree. I mean, most of the scientific community agrees with this. There's some theories. There's some other mathematical equations that maybe whatever. This dude did a mathematical equation. He put it all together, and the probability is like basically 1, meaning like it's 100% a possibility. They exist. They're out there. I'm telling you truth right now, y'all. Aliens exist, and they're out there. Anyway. Eric makes a good point. Waiting for them to save us. That's the biggest problem to me with most of this alien theory. First of all, anytime you if you're leaning into conspiracy theory, you're going to get burned. 95% of conspiracy theory is bullshit. Thank you, God Tank. That's an excellent way to put what we're doing here. Earth girls are easy. They're going to be mostly dudes, aliens. They wouldn't be female aliens, I bet. They're mostly dudes because of the movie Earth Girls Are Easy, right? If Jeff Goldblum taught us anything, and Jim Carrey, and it was that Damon Wayans? Holy shit, I haven't seen that movie in forever. Anyway. This is the fun. Why nobody should miss Rockin Robbie Live on Sunday nights. But people are like, yeah, the people are like wanting aliens to be real because they want some kind of saviors. Now, this gets into ideas of mythology and religion. We're looking for some external something to explain our lives and to save us from the mundane mediocrity that is human existence, right? First of all, fuck that. Human existence is amazing. The fact that I can breathe air, the fact that I'm here talking to you right now, we've never met, maybe. We've never been physically connected together. We've never been near in the same area or whatever, but we're able to share these thoughts back and forth. What we're able to do right now is fucking amazing. This world's amazing. We don't need to escape from it. We just need to work together more. And I said I was done talking about politics, but Biden. But 95% of what people would call conspiracy theories, because as Chris says, conspiracy theory is a really flawed and inaccurate term most of the time it's used. 95% of alien encounters and extraterrestrial shit is bullshit too. And that's just the fact. Crackpots are out there. It's a real thing. It happens. But aliens are real. I don't know if they're big gray aliens with the big googly eyes with the teen dog shades on. But they exist. They're out there. They're real. The next question. Because when we talk about this alien conversation, the first question is, do aliens exist? Yes. I can almost say that as confidently as I can say that Jack Kirby did more of the legwork on Fantastic Four. But the big question, have they visited us? Appreciate the super chat, Rylan. Rylan, you're helping us do what we do, including keeping people informed about comic books, movies, pop culture, and more, and of course, aliens and government conspiracy theories. Have the aliens have they visited us? Luis says 3 types of aliens there are. I've heard up to 9. Logan says yes. Have aliens visited Earth? My answer to this, a shaky I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. I don't know. I did a lot of looking at things this week. I literally watched a shit ton of documentaries. I looked up a bunch of stuff online. I spent every waking moment this week that was not at work or doing PCP work or spending those rare moments of amazement with my friends and family and lover. I spent researching this shit, and I've always been into things that are other. I've always been into metaphysical things. And once again, thank you so much, Rylan. I really do appreciate it. Here's my Michael Bluth. Anyway, so I did a lot of stuff, right? I looked into this a lot. And yeah, I watched a lot of Joe Rogan this weekend too. I just don't know if they visited us, y'all. I get some different ideas. I get different theories from people. So let's just look at the history, the timeline. So the first reported flying saucer sightings, because they were always flying saucer back in the days. And why were they flying saucers? Well, if you really look at it, all the stuff in the 20s and 30s, the sci-fi pulp stuff, they had flying saucers. The idea of the flying saucer existed before people really started seeing flying saucers, okay? Now, as far as extraterrestrial visitation, let's go back to prehistory. Let's go back to ancient history. Let's do that, right? You get references that could be easily cited as early UFO sightings in things like the Bible and other mythological beings. You got the Mahabharata, you got all that stuff, right? You got the Sumerian type stuff. You got stuff that goes back that could totally be construed as ancient alien type stuff or some kind of a reference to it. I think some of these are easily explained, but I also think that some of them may hold some water. So it really started picking up here in the U.S., the sightings, not counting the prehistory stuff. And there's that woodworking of that town that had like all these glowing orbs fighting with each other in the sky. Battle of the Sky. Holy shit. How crazy does that sound? You know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like the Battle of Los Angeles. I think that's a whole other thing. So, in the 40s, the sightings start. Now, I just wanted to point out that 2 decades before the 40s, there were already flying saucers used in popular media. Once again, Ryland, thank you so much. Another super chat. Holy shit. So in 1947, Kenneth Arnold, that's his name, Kenneth Arnold, had one of the first known UFO sightings in America. And then in July of that year, we had the Roswell incident. Now, with the Roswell incident, what I do want to point out is a couple things here. First of all, the very day and moment that this happened, this was the headline. Now, should we automatically... We never believe the media unless they help our conspiracy theories or whatever the hell, right? Look at that. Captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region. The very next day, and you know the story. This is the beginning of the story of the government cover-up. This the very next day. Disc craze continues. Army disc ounce New Mexico find as weather gear. Was a weather balloon. So after straight up they say, we found an alien crash ship and survivors or dead aliens. The very next day, it's just a weather balloon. Now the weather balloon is an idea that you hear explained a lot. By the way, if certain documentaries will allow you to believe, that cat right there in that picture admitted that he was just going along with the official story that did not add up to what the real story was. And he revealed that to multiple people before he died, if you believe certain documentaries. I never talked to this cat before he died, but allegedly this guy came out against this stuff. So have aliens visited us? Well, so then you have people like, what's his name? You have people like Bob Lazar. And yes, somebody said this earlier. Bob Lazar has an amazing episode with Joe Rogan. Way better than the Tom DeLonge one. The Tom episode, he's full of shit, and people know he's full of shit. And Joe knows he's full of shit. And what's the most interesting thing to me about that podcast is that Joe and Jamie know this dude's full of shit, and he's just come across like he's just trying to sell something. He's got that show on History Channel. I watched like a couple episodes of that. I just wasn't feeling it. It came across as very inauthentic. Now, Joe Rogan is someone who wants to believe, and this is the biggest thing, and he said this, and I'll say this too. The biggest problem with all of this UFO shit, I want to believe. It's real. I want to believe in something different. I want to believe in something more than this. There's got to be something more. There's got to be something else. I'm special. I'm unique. I have access to some information that nobody else does. It makes me feel special. It makes me feel important. It makes me feel above the mundane. Well, one thing I've learned in my studies, and I have studied a lot. We're talking about metaphysical shit right now, okay? The mundane is necessary. The mundane does not mean humdrum existence. It doesn't mean just bullshitting around and not being happy. Anybody can self-actualize for the most part. There are plenty of people that have circumstances that hold that back. But then there have been people with extraordinary circumstances that rise above them. More so than just having a shitty job or maybe a crappy relationship, right? Maybe kids you can't stand, a dream unfulfilled, a love unfulfilled or unexplored. However, the need to want more in our lives should not outweigh our faculty of reasoning. However, I do want to believe. I want aliens to have visited us. I want there to be a government conspiracy. It's something that makes me feel... I mean, let's be honest. Actually, let me be honest. It's Teen Dog Honesty Night. When the shades are on, the filters are off. I don't know if I want that to be true, to be honest with you. Some kind of government cover-up of aliens crash landing on Earth. And Bob Lazar, as we were talking about, Bob Lazar, if you're not familiar with him, I got a lot of images set up for today, so I got to find it. Yeah, the Bob Lazar said that he was headhunted to work in S4, which was near Area 51. And he was working to reverse engineer an alien antimatter, anti-gravity, gravitational warp type thing, like a power source. And that it was crazy. And it would explain why we see all these UFOs that just fly there. Now, these are the Trent pictures. The pictures of the Trent stuff, right? So it's from back in the day, in the 50s, I believe, early 50s. Right there. McMinnville Farmer. This is in Oregon, so it's near Portland. So I don't think Bob's here anymore, and Bueller's not here. I haven't seen him tonight. But if they're watching on the after show, or if they're watching it later on, let me know. Have y'all ever seen anything? Do you know anybody that's ever seen anything? Me personally, I know people that have seen things. I don't know anybody that's claimed to have worked on alien craft or anything like that. But anyway, these Trent pictures have been known as being like kind of almost unexplainable. But somebody did explain it as it looks is like it's like tied to the power lines, and it's just a like the rear view, side view mirror on a truck or something like that. I don't think these are the most compelling footage. There's newer footage that's a little bit more compelling, that even the Navy has acknowledged as being UFOs, or as they call them, AAVs, anomalous aerial vehicles. So that's pretty interesting to me. So anyway, you have Roswell. The government really starts getting into this. They have Project Sign, which leads to Project Grudge, which leads to Project Blue Book. And it seems like, aside from maybe Sign, most of these were actually set up as government agencies to debunk UFO phenomena. Why? Well, here's the thing. Have we been visited? I am inclined to believe that I don't think that we have been visited in the 20th century by aliens. I don't know. I find it really hard to believe that an advanced civilization from so far away with this amazing technology that could come here, I believe they would come here just to scope it out, right? But the idea that they would crash so often in such a short amount of time doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. I'm more inclined to believe that in the 40s, we're talking about post-World War II, and the Battle of Los Angeles, right, was more or less a response because people were trigger happy. So what happened here is the Battle of Los Angeles was that somebody thought they saw a Japanese, this right after we got into World War II. People thought, so this is after Pearl Harbor, people thought that like a Japanese attack was happening, and they all of a sudden started just firing on all this shit in the sky. Some people say that this is a UFO sighting, but I think it's a military type thing. Trigger happy kid, right? But it's interesting fiction. If it is true, it does add an element of mystery and surprise and uniqueness to our experience as Americans, right? But I actually think it's more likely that the government would have uncovered some kind of like an archaeological dig of aliens, right? I think it's more possible that aliens would have existed back in the day. Now, that image right there, that's a comet. It's the crucifixion of Christ. Comets were known to be, if you want to get into the teen dog shade stuff, if you want to get up into all that, right? You've got to bring in the idea of symbolism. Comets, I should say, not comments. Comets represent sigils of doom and gloom, right? What's interesting right here is that I think this is from Sumer. I'm not sure. But this is the sun and planets that orbit around it, which is really crazy if you look at the relative size. And we were already talking about Graham Hancock and shit. And then you got the Nazca. This is from Peru. These are those lines that are drawn out that you can only see from the air. That's a bird. I think that's a bird. I don't know. So, I think that's Slimer, to be honest with you. So there's Slimer. And then right there you got a spider. There's also other images like a monkey and things that look like runway lines. So people think that this is like meant for the aliens to look at us. Well, maybe not the aliens. I think the gods, right? But are the gods aliens? Have they been here? I don't know. I really don't. I think it's more possible that they were here back in the day, and maybe we found some archaeological dig, and we found some ancient craft, and found a power source, and we've been working on that. However, I think most of the alien sites, or the UFO sightings from the 40s and onward, I really honestly think those were just experimental, top-secret government type things, right? We know that. However, we also know that the government did open up investigations into this because they themselves cannot explain some of this. Rylan with another super chat. Thank you so much. Rylan's just like, UFOs? Hell yeah, I'm down. Share them secrets, brother. Anyway, so in 1952, there was a wave of sightings. It was record-breaking. At times, there were 20 sightings a day. How crazy is that? Can you imagine that? Doesn't happen nowadays. In 1961, we had Betty and Barney Hill. That was the first like abduction idea that we get. The aliens abducted this couple. They were an interracial couple. They have been mentioned. There was a movie made about them. This is a very popular story. The idea of the alien abduction, the pulling apart of, like, they took eggs from Betty, they took semen from Barney. That idea of like insemination and all that kind of stuff kind of comes from that. And that really led into the idea of the alien abduction experience. And then more came out. There was maybe some things before that, but I think this was the one that was like the prototypical alien abduction experience. So that's crazy. In 1966, there was a really, so the government agency, what's the guy name? It's Alan Heinberg or something like that. Anyway, the government agency at the time, there was this rash of sightings in Michigan in 1966. Yeah, in 66. And a lot of people saw something, and he wrote it off as swamp gas, right? Swamp gas. And this got a lot of ridicule, right? A lot of ridicule. And Gerald Ford, who was not vice president or president at the time, he was a congressman. He led to the first congressional inquiry into UFO experiences and the visitations from other worlds. There have been many presidents and top-notch government officials that have reported that they have looked into it and were told that they're not privy to that information. Because shortly after Roswell, and maybe this is a coincidence, maybe it's not, but shortly after Roswell, the Air Force was pulled away from the Army. It was made a distinct thing, and the CIA was created. There's a deep state in our government here in America that's even beyond the need to know of the president, because the president is just temporary, but this is permanent in their view. I'm not trying to get into Illuminati talk. I think most of the Illuminati talk is kind of bullshit. I think the best way to live life is that there is an Illuminati, and it's you and your friends. I think I think Robert Anton Wilson said that. So I think aliens are real. Have they visited us? I don't know. I think most of it is government technology. We're talking about post-World War II. We're talking about Cold War. I know I'm rambling, but I think that's what's going on there. The swamp gas thing, though, just didn't work. The congressional, every time that somebody tries to get into any kind of government official wants to get into it, they seem like they hit a roadblock. Why is that? In 1976, we had Travis Walton. That's where the movie Fire in the Sky comes from. This dude passed plenty of polygraphs. That's an alien abduction story. It's a fantastic movie, by the way. It's really, really good, and it's supremely terrifying. In 1997, we have the Phoenix Lights. Now, the Phoenix Lights are kind of interesting to me because this is something that was experienced by like 400 plus people. But it happened over a series of 3 different times. So the first time it was like 5 lights, and then it was 9 lights. Here's one of the few images that I could find of it because most of the video, because there is video, but most of the video and the images are actually copyrighted. So in Phoenix in 1997 in March, a bunch of people saw these lights. They were like glowing orbs, and they were in like a V shape. Some people explained that they could also see that these individual lights were a part of one big triangular black object that was almost like a mile long, right? And that they could see that it was blacking out the stars as it went by. Either way, whether it's aliens or alien technology, is the government. That's the government. That's the government testing something. I don't know. That's why you get so many of these sightings in the Southwest, around those testing zones, Nevada, Arizona, and shit like that, right? But there's more to it. And if you believe Tom DeLonge, and I don't, high-level government officials have come to him because they want to reveal this to the public, but they want to go through a former punk pop star like him. I don't know. But the Bob Lazar story is interesting to me because I would 100% want to believe the Bob Lazar story. But there's some things that, like especially his appearance on the Joe Rogan show, I think he was using his migraine as an excuse to like not be clear in his story. I've heard differing versions of his story, but I also know how the persistence of memory is over time. But then you got these new things. And the way these ships move kind of work with the technology that Bob was explaining. But I'll be honest with you. I know there are aliens. I don't know if they visited us back then, if they visited us way back in the day, or if they're visiting us right now. But I think something's happening. Something's happening, for sure. I think mostly what happens is the abduction experience, I think, is contact with the higher self. This is the real Teen Dog Shade shit right here. I think the abduction experience, for the most part, can be explained as contact with the higher self. This can be likened to angelic visions. If you look at the abduction terminology, the descriptions of the events, it likens to something like an angelic holy vision. Talk about the miracle of Fatima. It was early 1900s. I think it was in Portugal. I may be wrong on that. But there were these 3 kids. They were visited by the BVM. There are visions of the BVM, by the way, the Blessed Virgin Mary, that people have that are legitimate, that are documented by the Catholic Church as being true miracles. The miracle at Fatima is one of these miracles. It's documented. There were like 30,000 people, I believe, there. I should have pulled up some images. These 3 kids, they had visions of this holy angel, this woman, lady, angel. And this is very relatable to the Blessed Virgin Mary sightings that are documented by the Catholic Church. They see these bright lights, and so there was a sequence of these events, and it led to a bunch of people to believe that there was going to be another vision at a certain point in time. And like 30,000 people, maybe that's wrong, maybe it's like 3,000, I don't know. A lot of fucking people gathered at this place, and they all had a shared vision of the sun going all spiral and weird, and then this it like the sun itself like coming down to the earth and then lifting back up, and it was this whole shared vision. And you're talking about like thousands of people hallucinating, having a shared vision. I don't know. But I believe that there's something inside of all of us. We were talking earlier about dreams. We're talking about the subconscious. We're talking about the wall between the consciousness and the subconscious. I think that wall is real, and I think it can be thinned, and I think it can be broken. And I think sometimes it can be broken in moments of ecstasy. And I'm not just talking about like through drugs, but definitely through drugs. Somebody's mentioned shrooms. Maybe they think I'm on shrooms. I'm not doing shrooms right now. If I was doing shrooms, I could not perform this live stream right now. I promise you. I've tried. I haven't tried. That would be interesting. Anyway, but people with psychedelic visions, people with these that are really attuned, if you're looking for something, you'll find it. And if you imprint something in your subconscious enough, it's going to come out. You're going to experience it, right? There have been plenty of people that have had experiences out of body. So not just the Blessed Virgin Mary or angelic visions, but even like it's called the evocation of the Holy Guardian Angel. So this is something that most high magic gets towards. We're talking about Golden Dawn type stuff, ceremonial magic. The ultimate point, Crowley, for instance, is to reach to the Holy Guardian Angel, which is your higher self, the real you that's inside of you that you don't even know about. Do you get what I'm saying? There's a real you there. They call it the Holy Guardian Angel, the HGA. It could also be the BVM. It could also be the angel that you see. It could be the demons that you see. It could be the aliens that you see. However, a lot of the experience of alien abductees is the same as people that experience and relate these other ideas. For instance, Robert Anton Wilson, when he performed the Holy Guardian Angel evocation, as explained by Crowley, while he was tripping acid, then believed he was in psychic contact with the star system of Sirius for 2 years. And he received information, right? So maybe that's a real thing. I myself have never experienced conversation with anything from the Sirius system, but if there is something there, I want to hear it this year, and I'm doing what I need to do. I'm following the Robert Anton Wilson, the raw path, and I'm trying to get that to happen. As far as Sirius goes, I will point you to the Robert Temple book, The Sirius Mystery, in which there's a tribe in Africa called the Dogon tribe, right? That 100% knew that Sirius existed, that it had two companion stars. They knew there was a Sirius B and a C, which we figured out later from like after they already knew about it. And they believed that there were fish people that came down from the stars and brought them knowledge, right? So they believe something fishy going on there. No pun intended. Holy shit. Also, if you look at a lot of Babylonian, Sumerian type stuff, you see some of the fish imagery there as well. And that's documented in the Sirius Mystery by Robert Temple, which is a fantastic book. So, anyway, all of this to say, do aliens exist? Yes. Have we been visited? I don't know. More likely so, to me, in the past. And I'm not an Ancient Aliens guy at all. I watch Ancient Aliens for the entertainment value of it, but mostly I think it's full of shit. I'm more of the Graham Hancock idea that humanity did this stuff already. Maybe we have a lost chapter. And that's something else to get into, and we'll maybe do that on the next Teen Dog Shades night. We've talked about it before. But there is something compelling about these UFO sightings, about these abduction experiences, and how they can relate to other experiences. I think there's something real to it. I think there's something there. I think it's worth exploring. I think poo-pooing it, as some would say. Eddie! Man, you talk about aliens, people throw dollars at you. I should do this more often. No, thank you so much, Eddie. You're helping keep the PCP dream alive. But in conclusion, if the government knew anything about aliens, whether it was an archaeological dig, an observation from a far-off planet, if it was recovered technology from a crash in the 20th century, would the government cover it up? Most assuredly, I tell you, hell the fuck yeah. Absolutely, the government would cover it up. We all know the government covers shit up. That's why it's so much easier to believe this shit. There's my alien talk. Jesus Christ. I went on such a long rant. I couldn't even keep up with your comments. I'll have to look at them later. But thank you all so much. And thank you for the super chats. Really do appreciate it. We're going to end the show coming up here in a minute. But we're going to get to the show and tell. I got some comics to show off. I got some toys to open. We talked about the Batmobile. Here's my Batmobile. My Superpowers Batmobile. With Batman and Robin inside of it. I always love showing this one off. It's in pretty decent shape. One of the reasons why I'm showing that off is not just because we were talking about the Batmobile earlier, but because my buddy Chris Palk, hooked me up with a Superpowers Joker figure for free. He just gave this to me. That's an A-OK. It's got a messed up face. But this is a superpower. And it doesn't work so well anymore. But look, dope. You guys know that I love the superpower action figures, and so I'm super pumped to have a Joker. I had this when I was a kid, but I no longer do. Yeah, it's got some like ink or something on the face there. But still, for free? Pff, Chris, you the man. Chris is the man. So let's share some comics real quick. I told everybody I was going to share my first appearance of Black Bolt today. There it is right there. Fantastic Four number 46. First appearance of Black Bolt. This was a gift for my birthday. I don't want to flip open too much because you guys know I buy my comic books in low grade. So they're almost falling apart. That's Dragon Man in there. There's Black Bolt right there. Hell yeah. Jack Kirby, Stan Lee. Goldenness. Now this is the first full appearance. I think there was a cameo in 45. 45 is also just known as the first appearance of the Inhumans, which I don't have a 45. I have 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, and 55. I think I'm getting them 56 soon. So I got a big chunk there, but I don't have that. But this is the first appearance of Black Bolt. Right there, the real thing. How cool is that? So guess what that leads us into? We're going to open up some Fantastic Four action figures, including this Black Bolt figure. We've been talking about this for the last couple weeks. These are all figures from the Fantastic Four toy line by Toy Biz that was associated with the 90s animated series, which you can find on Disney+. It's a fun series with a great theme song. On an outer space adventure, they were hit by cosmic rays, and the four were changed forever in the most fantastic ways. No need to fear, they're here. Just call the four. Anyway, here's the Black Bolt. We're going to open it up. I had this figure when I was a kid. What he does is he squeezes his legs, he opens it up and spreads his wings out. It's kind of like Silverhawk's action figure. So let's do it. Let's do it, man. Let's fucking do it. So there's the Black Bolt figure. It's a very nice figure, to be honest with you. I think this is the first Black Bolt figure ever. It's got the little wings. They're plastic. And like I said, like a Silverhawk. Tally Hawk! What? What am I missing? Oh, it's the button on his belly. Okay. Tally Hawk! There you go. How dope is that? And of course, you can't have Black Bolt without Medusa. I've had this one on my wall for a while, so now we're going to open this up. In the third wave of Fantastic Four figures, they all had bases. Do you see this on the back right there? Psycho Man. That thing is cool. I've never seen that thing. I want that. That Johnny, the wizard. It's not really in focus. There you go. They all have bases. So we're going to open this up. Her base is her hair, which I think is super cool. By the way, those super chats really help us be able to do things like buying toys and opening them up. Oh, that's a tough one. So I never had this figure as a kid, so this is the first time I actually get to see it out of package. But with Black Bolt, you got to have Medusa, and I need to save some room, and opening toys is a great way to do that. Let's just pull all that out. Roll that over to the side, just toss it. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to put her hair together. This is ridiculous. What? That's good enough. So there's the Medusa figure. It's all right. It's pretty good. Actually, it looks pretty solid as a Medusa figure. And then you put her on her base and see it's her hair. The whole thing's her hair. How crazy is that? There you go. So in that line, they did 4 Inhumans, of which I only have 3. So I don't have Triton, but I do have Gorgon. Gorgon. He does a leg kick. So we're going to open him up. He's got these guns, which don't make sense. So one of them fell. I'm not even going to, whatever. Gorgon doesn't have guns. So that's the Gorgon figure right there. Like I said, there's a Triton that I'll be getting soon, and he does a kick. He kind of does a kick. Okay, there you go. Anyway, oh, he's drippy. So those are the figures I'm opening up. I got a few more comics I want to show off. First of all, I'm reading this Star Trek book, the UK Classic Comics, and they're fun and they're goofy, but look at that artwork. I am very shocked and amazed at the artwork in these UK Star Trek books. They are amazing. The layouts are cool and unique. The artwork is great. The coloring, the likenesses. Holy cow. Look at that. That's some really solid stuff. This is from the UK from like 1969. But it's been fun. All right. Gorgon is the stamper. I don't know why he would kick or why he has guns. All right, to finish off, some comics we want to show off here. This is my Fantastic Four 236. I've talked about this a few times. This one I have autographed by John Byrne and Stan Lee. There are the autographs right there. This was the 20th anniversary of Fantastic Four, so that was super, super cool. Speaking of John Byrne, back when Marvel and DC used to work together, John Byrne did this Darkseid versus Galactus, The Hunger. This is a really fun comic book. Wanted to share it for my collection. Here's my Daredevil 181. I'm a big fan of everything comics with Bullseye Bob. He's a big Daredevil fan, so I wanted to show this off, let him see it. He'll probably watch this on the replay, I hope. If not, I'll point him out to it. But Bob, here's a shout out to you. One of my favorite Daredevil comic books of all time. Here is an X-Men Forever, giant-size X-Men Forever. The big significance of this is that it's the only comic book that Mike Grell and Chris Claremont worked on together. I found this information out. If you notice, it's signed by Chris Claremont and Mike Grell. They were both here at the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo, so I wanted to get a book that they had worked on together. That was the only one. You know I'm a big What If fan. What if Venom had possessed the Punisher? This is one of the coolest FF comics I ever read. It was super cool, and it has an ad on the back for this X-Men adventure game, which I actually have a copy of, just so you know. We were talking this week on X-Men Fatal Attractions on Comics Revisited about hologram covers. Here's some more great hologram covers. I don't know if we're going to get this one to come across, but everybody remembers this. Spider-Man 365. There was a series of these. Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man. There was Spectacular Spider-Man and just Spider-Man, right? But they all had this holograph cover. Not near as cool. But I was always a sucker for any kind of hologram cover. I was always a sucker for any kind of foil cover. Just recently got a Thunderstrike #1 this week. Got the whole run, actually, I'm working on. So why not, right? Thunderstrike #1. That shows you what era I'm from. Speaking of what era I'm from, there's a Punisher 2099 #1, Jack Gallows right there with a cool foil on the cover. Speaking of that, Secret Defenders #1 was one of the hypest books back when I was a kid. Everybody loved it. Didn't pan out so well, but still a good book. And Brett Hess, big fan of the show. and I don't think he's here anymore, but he had asked me if I was going to read the new Crow book. And I was like, I've never really read any of the Crow books. And then in come these. So I actually have the Crow books. They're in terrible condition. That's why I was able to pick them up, because they were cheap. But there they are. So I got these first 3 Crow books by James O'Barr, and I'm excited to check them out. So anyway, that's show and tell for the week. And that is the show for the week. I know we went long tonight, but I think it was worth it. We had a great time. Thank y'all so much for paying attention and all that jazz. I do want to point out once again that we have a brand new episode of Comics Revisited coming out this Friday. It's all about 0 Hour. It's the penultimate issue. Having an advanced review of No One's Rose #1 from Vault Comics coming tomorrow. Also, we are on Patreon, patreon.com/PCP. You can join these cool cats right here and help support the channel. You can also follow us at popculturephilosophers.com, on Facebook, on Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter at Rockin Robbie, and you can join the PCP Army, which is the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. So thank you all so much for supporting the channel. We really appreciate the super chats. We appreciate the fun that we had tonight. We'll be back. We'll have lots of excitement this week. Lots of ground to cover. Comic books, movies, TV, pop culture, aliens, UFOs. It never gets boring. It never gets old. Thank you all so much. We really do appreciate it. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep on rocking.